Hello, chat. Hope you're all having a good day. Hope you're all having a good day. The weather is, the weather is quite warm again, so that's gonna be fun. So yeah, today we got something new. I've been honestly been kinda nervous of even starting this because I'm pretty sure not much people are going to care about this game, so. It also doesn't help that it's a visual novel, so I'm going to be talking a lot. So that's not going to be good on my end, but let's get into it then. Or maybe not. I guess we download first. I've been wanting to start this for a while now. It certainly doesn't help that in the meanwhile Tsukihime and Fate Stay Night have both been released. It's from the same writer after all. So expect some techno babble and maybe some confusing things that are going to happen. Also, I'm aware that there is not going to be much gameplay in this compared to other visual novels, so it's going to be a pretty straightforward, just visual novel. I'll just immediately start into it. Alright then. It was a winter's day 8 years ago. That solemn morning when she understood the value of life for the very first time. Her home was nestled on the side of a mountain. Around it was nothing but inhospitable wilderness. She had no neighbors or childhood friends to speak of, things like traveling to school, playing outside were more trouble than they ought to be. Indeed, with its pure water and bright stars, it was a place rich with memories both frustrating and halcyon? I can't fit that word. It was only during summer though. Winters in those mountains were extremely frigid, each morning more severe than the last. I thought I would drive her to the train station, after waiting 10 minutes for the engine to warm up and the ice over windows to clear.
That's
a voice acting. Also, I think I recognize that voice. Mind starting up the car for me? Her father would savor his morning coffee, leaving her to venture out and rev the engine. Out the front door she would go, traversing the garden with icy breath until she reached the old sedan. As always, she inserted the key and then started the ignition. The engine rumbled to life. Just as she proudly finished that humble task she'd done so many times before. A shrill scream pierced the air. She knew, even though it wasn't human, that the feeble sound was a cry of agony. A few moments passed. Her father came down and opened the hood of the car. Creaking fans belts. Oh. A monstrous-looking engine. And something that didn't belong. There was a cat, a mother by the looks of it, and the 2 kittens. The 3 cats had been huddling for warmth in the engine's compartment. The mother's cat was missing its head. Oh. One of the kittens had been mangled beyond recognition by the engine bells, and surely died instantly. The other kitten, his face half covered in blood, panted faintly. It desperately clung to its mother, or rather, the chunk of meat that had been its mother with the last bit of life it could muster. Poor things. The father lamented their plight. The previous night had been especially cold. After a great start, I see. Yeah, that's really depressing. Ah. After he had returned home yesterday, the cats must have snuck under the hood, drawn by the warmth of the engine. They had slept next to the engine, and awoken to a storm of spinning belts. Cars in the 80s were not sealed particularly well, so this was not unheard of. It's okay, it wasn't your fault. Her father's voice seemed distant. She could only make out a small tuft of the kitten's grey fur. The rest of it was caked in blood of his mother and brother. I can see its skull. The fragile life of a speckled kitten. Trembling and possibly blind, it continued to nuzzle against the dead mother's chest. Wait. She took the kitten into her arms and ran deep into the mountains to her grandfather's house. I think I should go back to lurking. Oof. Was it because she was overcome with regret? Or was it the shock of grief? Years later she still wasn't you. Fighting back the welling tears, she burst into her grandfather's workshop. Her grandfather was a magician who could do anything. She had never seen magic. She knew that magic was a fantasy straight out of fairy tales, but so was her grandfather. She had to find him. She was the only one who could help. I suppose you want me to alter this kitten's fate. The cave-dwelling magician said indifferently. This kitten needs our help, she pleaded. Whether it was a simple task or a Herculean labor, her grandfather would not say. He simply granted the girl's child's wish like a machine. Good ending, the cat has been saved. Oh no, the girl said. Before she knew it, however, she was holding a tiny corpse in her hands. Its fur was cold. The warmth of life had left its body, and the tears she had fought so hard to hold back poured from her eyes. Regret spread to her chest like an endless grey sky.
トロだったな。結局元に戻すと。
We were too late. Some things cannot be undone. The mind struggled to come to grips with what had just occurred. The last 10 minutes were a total blank. Was she mad? What she had known, it was all as if it has never happened. The only thing she was sure of that was that life, once extinguished, can never return.
そこに誰かいるの?
Somebody there? That day. It was her mistake that gave birth to me. Indeed. Whatever occurred that day, it was a day of nostalgia and longing. This is the fairy tale of 8 years ago. The day they first met, that no magic can ever bring back. Well, chat, always check your cars for cats before you start them. Arrogant, greedy, and only able to destroy, I must be a wolf. I don't have regrets. There is no looking back. If my pride has left you behind, my sincere condolences. But at any rate, I suppose it's my fate to die at the hands of Little Red Riding Hood. I was actually expected to be blasted by an opening at some point, but I guess we're not getting that. It was a quiet morning. From my bed you could see the sky was an ashen watercolor grey. The thermometer displayed 43 degrees Fahrenheit. We're doing Fahrenheit for a Japanese game, huh? Alright. I mean, I guess that is one problem with it being localized and only distributed in America instead of Europe. I had to get this game from Amazon US because there was no European release for this, so that's always kind of annoying. Rather unforgiving temperature for November. Does anyone in chat know American temperatures? Because I have no idea how much Fahrenheit is. Let me Google this actually. It's probably going to happen more, I imagine. From 43. Six degrees. That's pretty cold. That's pretty cold. Americans in the Fahrenheit. That's about 6 degrees. Ah, you also said it. Thanks for conversing it to us, guys. Her stomach woke her up with a growl, pathetically reminding that she had completely missed breakfast. A lazy morning like today were for her a blessing. It was already well past 8 in the morning. On an ordinary weekday, tidiness would be unavoidable, but today classes were cancelled in commemoration of the school's anniversary. This is the usual temperature there in November. Last November we actually had some snow for once. It's not something that really happens a lot. And then we didn't get much snow for the rest of the winter anymore. In Great Village has every intention of taking it easy for the first time in ages. Outside the window was a gloomy grange. It reminded her of more evening than morning. It wasn't a pleasant morning by any stretch of the imagination. Also need to keep an eye out of texels and cut off on screen. But having been up all night until just 3 hours ago, she couldn't care less about the weather outside. Ah, I see. We're pulling the mine on the evening here. 15-20 years ago, snow would start laying in permanently in November. Oof. I wish we had those kind of winters, really. At most we get some rain, and if you're lucky it's 10 degrees. All she cared about was more sleep. As long as she could spend the morning in bed, what was happening outside was of no concern to her. That's a mood. She shut the curtains. She then closed her eyes and tried to let sleep reclaim her.
せめてあと2時間ぐらいは凡庸な夢を見ていられますように。
I like a nice uneventful dream for 2 hours, thank you. Blissful slumber found her soon enough. Her consciousness faded. However, a simple request would be mercilessly refused. A faint but shrill sound lingered in her ears. It was the unmistakable ring of a telephone. Much to her chagrin, pronounce it correctly, chagrin, her eyes popped open out of habit.
こんな日に限って。
Oh, come on, what do they have all days? The telephone was situated in the foyer on the first floor. Answering it meant walking down a 30-foot corridor and going down a flight of stairs. In a sleep-deprived state, the distance seemed somewhat between incredibly far and astronomically far. This really is describing a good laziness mood, isn't it? The phone's incessant ringing continued. She knew the caller would eventually give up if she ignored it, but she chose to fight the urge.
アリス出ないの?
Why doesn't Alice answer it? Alice? Oh no. She thought her housemate would get it, but she soon had to abandon all hope. The realization struck that her housemate did not have the day off from school and was likely in class at the prestigious little Hilltop Academy. So we're roommates with Alice. Uh-oh. The caller proved inexorably persistent. Alice won't answer, she's in coma. I actually haven't kept up to date with the manga. Is she still in coma? I wouldn't be surprised if it were. It's been a good year since I've checked. The persistence made the volume of the ringing seem even louder. Yeah, she still is. Oh, I'm trying to sleep here. She was left with no choice but to get up, throw her top on and leave the room. Oh. She rubbed her hands together to warm her numb fingers. The mansion's heating system was inadequate to say the least, which meant that the winter was a very worse for uninvited guests. Never more so than on dreary mornings as this, when one didn't need to use a thermometer to know how cold it was. The mansion sat in the mountains and was surrounded by dense forest. Winter always arrived there first before moving to the nearby towns. Did I actually need to check something here? Oh, okay, plus it's just quick save. I wanted to bring up a menu, but, okay. Yeah, I don't have any instruction booklets for this, so I don't know how to operate menus, so that's going to be funny. And potentially confusing at some point. The robotic ring of the telephone reverberated throughout the long hallway. The mansion's furnishings had been so perfectly maintained that it made the place feel unlived. It seemed lonelier than it did splendid. Coupled with the dreary morning, it could have passed for a haunted house. Just in time for October. Well, it is a haunted house, I suppose. It's too large for just the two of us. She counted more than 30 rings since first began. The caller either had a lot of free time on her hands or had a good understanding of the house circumstances. She had a strong hunch that it was a later. I always find it funny when the doorbell rings downstairs here, and you try to go from the bedroom to the door. 9 out of 10 times the person is already gone at the door. So if you have a package, you're probably screwed here. Like, I'm not sure if it's just because of the post delivery service being so, how do I call it? Not lazy. Crap, that's the word I'm looking for. Hasty? Also not even. I guess I just don't want to wait. I just want to move on really fast. The window above looked out into a gloomy sky. She had hastened to catch the unrelenting ring in the act as soon as possible, though she had a feeling that her happy morning might come to a close the moment she caught it. It's a very antique-looking phone. It was then that a series of incidents began. Apologies for the lack of romance to this tale. For whether it be objectively true, Mary's superstition? It was always from a gloomy and unassuming beginnings that an extraordinary event was set in motion. And now the opening plays, I guess. One way is gonna get copyright claimed in one way or another. But yeah, as you can see, it's by the writer of Face Date Night, so yeah. We're probably in for a ride. Funny enough, this was the first story he wrote but didn't put in a game or something, and it took a good 10 years to come to the West, so it also took quite a while. I can remember seeing advertisements for this back in 2012, 2011. And this was like released last year in English. Then again, we seem to be in a bit of a weird moment for Type Moon releases as it is, because first we got this, then earlier this year we got Tsukihime, and now a few weeks ago, just Fate Stay Night got put out on Steam pretty much out of nowhere. Which I'll get to eventually too, but that's going to be a 1 hour plus undertaking if I do. Hell, Tsukihime itself is going to take an age. But there was still some... He said on Twitter that you weren't allowed to play some routes for some reason, so I wonder what's up with that. It's not like it's a remake or anything and people already know how things are going to go, but I guess it's still spoiler territory for some reason. Well, I know that there aren't any routes to this, it's just like one story. And it is around 24-25 hours-ish, so it shouldn't be super long. Still going to take 8 streams if, well, if I stick to my usual crap. Also, I hope the audio is fine, because I've added a filter to the capture card so that the volume is being increased instead of having to increase my own volume to 60 and getting my ears blasted out by notifications. She's still standing out with that red umbrella. I wanted to get to this last year, but since I was streaming Danganronpa, I didn't want to double those on streaming visual novels. That was going to kill my throat. I already had some times after streaming Danganronpa that my voice just heard it. My throat just heard it, rather. If anything, I'm afraid that I'm not going to get good places to stop the stream at times. The rain had subsided somewhat by the time she reached the school gate. Sunlight seemed to be playing peekaboo behind the clouds in distance. It looked like it might be cleared by early afternoon.
と言っても、私には関係のない話だけど。
None of it has anything to do with me, though. The weather reflected her luck. On top of being forced out of the house at such an early hour, she had to suffer through a winter rain. Winter rains are the worst. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. You can't just start off your chapter with that. Come on now. The sinking feeling she had only grew as she passed through the entrance and headed inside. She didn't encounter any other students along the way. Nor did she see anyone taking part in club activities either. The reception desk to the faculty room simply read a faculty closed. In the early morning? The school had given all of its students a day off. Except those explicitly summoned like her. It affected her more and more as the minutes passed. She opened the door to the faculty room and headed towards the desk she had visited a number of times before. The man at the desk wore a plain shirt and suited when nonetheless neatly pressed. Slim framed glasses adorned his face, giving off an amicable yet cunning air. The mild-mannered image of this mid-20s man presented clashed with the cigarette he smoked. Guess he's allowed to smoke then. He didn't appear to have noticed her yet.
Yamashiro-sensei.
I'm not going to repeat that, it's straightforward enough. She closed the door with a bang. Showing no response to the sudden sound, Mr. Yamashiro lifted his hat.
Yeah, ohayo, Aozaki-kun. Youken wa kiite iru kana?
Hey there, good morning, Miss Aozaki. I guess it means you got a call.
はい。1時間前に自宅で、事前に何の相談もなく。
Yes, they called me at home about an hour ago, out of the blue. Having graduated from this high school himself, Mr. Yamashiro was not much older than the rest of the students. For that reason, the students preferred him over the other teachers. He always had something interesting to talk about and kept conversation casual. In fact, he seemed more like an older student than a teacher, but she apparently didn't share her fellow students' fondness for him. She was of the opinion that teachers should come across as more austere. I mean, I guess you got a point. Like an iron fist that could inspire both love and hate in equal measure. Not the ability to joke and pal around with. Chad, how did you feel about teachers not being much older than you? I always found it feeling weird. Like it didn't really feel like you had much more knowledge to them. It's like 5 years older, that's about it. It was the exact opposite of how she felt that teachers should be. It was only natural that the manner towards her would be forced and unfriendly. Not that she'd ever been wired to make friendly small talk.
はあ、今日もご機嫌斜めみたいだね、君
You're
は。
in a foul mood today.
それは先生の気のせいです。今日だけ特別という話ではありませんから。
That's been happening a few times, isn't it? You must be imagining it. I'm like this every day. The matter of fact answer perfectly matched the displeasure displayed on her face. Her bad mood from having to get up early and her tiredness from staying up late must have collectively made her look positively adversarial. First? Ah. Oh yes. Struggling with English. Just some of these words that you never really use.
そう
Adversarial? Yeah.
ならいいんだけどね。彼にはそう辛く当たらないでくれよ。僕らじゃ正直どう扱っていいかわからないところもあるし。
If you say so, just go easy on I guess, okay? To be honest, I'm not completely sure to deal with him yet.
先生、その件ですけど、私まだ詳しい話を聞かされていないのですが。
About that, do you want to tell me what the hell is going on? Because I've no clue. As Miss Yamashiro met her piercing eyes, he finally understood the reason behind her tone and he slowly put out a cigarette.
電話じゃあなんて聞いたの？
Let's start at the beginning. What did they tell you over the phone?
転入生の紹介をするとだけです。
Just
理
that I've
由
been
も
introduced-
脈絡もない説明でした。
That's going to happen a lot, isn't it? Just that I'd be introduced to a transfer student. You were a little hazy on the rest, though. One of Mr. Yamashiro's eyebrows stood up, impressed with the brevity of her answer. You could see that she was angry, not because she had been called to school on the day off, but because she had been told why she was there. Oh, I guess. Mr. Yamashiro chuckled sympathetically.
先生、これが笑い話ならそろそろ帰っていいでしょうか。
If it is well a joke to you, perhaps you should just go home.
いや、ごめん謝るよ。冗談じゃなくて真面目な話なんだ。ちょっと君の手を借りたくてね。
Wait, I didn't mean to laugh. This is not a practical joke, we could really use your help.
本当に転入生の問題で。
So there really is a transfer student? I said always transfer students,
訳あり
Jack.
というか難しいというか。
And why do they always have difficult circumstances? Like I swear, this is also just an anime trope, isn't it? Yes, but yes, how should I put it? Difficult circumstances.
彼、宗十郎くんと言うんだけど、ちょっといろいろとずれていてね。僕らが案内してあげるより同世代の君の方が適任だと思ったんだ。
His name is Sojiro, and he's a bit, well, peculiar. So we thought someone around the same age would be best suited for him to show him the ropes. He threw an amused look. It was negligent of them to be pushing teaching duties on her, but she did wonder how exactly this transfer student was peculiar. Maybe he meant the student had behavioral problems or was difficult somehow. Hello, Zazza. But peculiar? She didn't have the slightest idea what that meant.
ずれてるなんてそう使わない表現だけど。
You don't hear a teacher call someone that every day. She had her doubts, but swept them aside for now. This wasn't the time to get distracted by more concerns. The fact remained that this conversation was all the peculiar she could handle, and she needed more information. She was already beginning to fantasize about saying no and curling up in a warm bed at home.
一つ質問があります。
Yeah, I haven't even seen her face properly yet, but so far she's been quite a mood, hasn't she? I have a question.
何？あ、学年は君と同じ2年生だよ。性格は落ち着きがあって人の話をよく聞くタイプ。裏を返せば覇気がないとも取れるけど、それならそれで付き合いやすいだろ。
I also like how we're talking about this person while he's not even in the room or something. Maybe he is not in the room, I don't know, but... Like, I kind of just imagine him sitting in there while people talk about him like this. Yes? Ah, he's a second-year student like you. He's well-behaved and a good listener. He's not the most energetic individual, but that means he'll be easier to get along with, right?
青崎くんとはクラスは違うけど、きっと仲良くな。
He's not in the same homeroom class as you, but I'm sure he can get along just...
そういったことは本人から直接聞きますし、測ります。
I'll be the judge of that when I actually meet him.
そうではなく、なぜ私なんでしょうか。
And none of that answered my question. Why me? Though her tone was still stern, it was clear that she was willing to cooperate. She decided to put her feelings of dissatisfaction aside and focus on the task at hand. Forcing herself to act apathetically in spite of her self-absorbed nature was something she was used to. Paradoxically, this force of will was also the reason teachers put so much faith in her. To a point. At times that strength shattered expectations, and on those occasions they were left with no choice but to treat it like a natural disaster and to weather it until it passed. That's how Mr. Yamashiro had come to deal with it over the past year.
もう一度だけ聞きます、山城先生。
I'll ask you one more time, Mr. Yamashiro.
それで、なぜ私なんでしょうか。
Why does it have to be me? Pressured by a question without a clear yes or no answer, he answered.
それはね。
All about that.
別に青崎くんが先生方に敬遠されているのと同じぐらい信頼されていて、学校のためなら教師も生徒も一緒くたに切って捨てる鉄の生徒会長だからじゃないよ。
You're probably thinking it's because you have the iron-fisted rule over the student council and are willing to strike down both teacher and student for the good of the school, but you'd be wrong.
それ以外にこんな呼びつけを受ける理由はないと思いますけど。
I can't imagine any other reason to call me. Her eyes had nothing but hide her disbelief as she glared at him. Strength far beyond that of an ordinary 17-year-old girl, coupled with the youthful beauty of one. Mr. Yamashiro let slip a genuine smile, admiring the miraculous balance of qualities.
いや、責務だけでいいなら僕がやってるさ。この人選に関しちゃ教師や生徒会長といった役職も関係ないよ。
I mean, I'd handle this myself if it was just pure obligation. But I guess his job has nothing to do with whether they're a teacher or the student council.
なんていうか、こんな頼みを損得抜きで聞いてくれるのは君だけだと思ってね。適任ですからと強く推薦したわけ。
I just felt that you were the only one who would entertain this kind of a request without needing to weigh all sides. That's why I insisted it'd be you. In other words, he knew she wouldn't say no.
山城先生。
うわ、怖っ。もう睨まない睨まない。言ったろ、僕にはともかく彼には笑顔でって。
Oh dear, would you stop glaring at me like that already? At least put on a smile for your new schoolmate.
とまあ、納得してくれたなら
Okay,
次
so
移動
we're
しよ
in this room.
う。もう随分待たせてしまっているからね。
Look, if you're agreeing to help, we should go see him. We've already kept him waiting long enough as it is.
それと雨の中ご苦労様。帰りはもちろん車で送るよ。
And because you braved the rain to get here, I'd be happy to give you a ride home. Yeah, well, it's clearing up already, so that's a bit of a waste. Mr. Yamashiro stood up gracefully. I'm good, thanks, she replied before turning and walking out in the faculty room. Okay, I guess it's still raining. They've been waiting for about an hour. Well, he did. The rain shower lightened into a drizzle. His mind wandered as he listened to the sound of the raindrops. I could use some rain right now. It's 25 degrees and it's getting warmer by the hour. Oh, actually, we're up to 27 already. Crap. The room was filled with neatly arranged rectangular tables. I didn't want to say tablets. God damn it. He was the only one there. Quite some time had passed since he had been brought to this room and the maid asked to wait. Even the best behaved student might have grown dissatisfied or anxious with the situation by now, but the boy stuck to his spot like a scarecrow. He was chilled to the bone. It was the end of November and the low temperature in the morning had marked the start of winter. The room was not much warmer. The heater hadn't been turned on. He'd read Mr. Teacher telling him to turn it on, or he'd never seen him on in his life. He breathed lightly on his freezing fingers as he aimlessly surveyed his surroundings. This dreary place was apparently a meeting room. The other students might have considered it a wonderful place to meet, but to him it was drab and overly spacious. It was a lifeless place that reminded him of an arid cave. Stuck in his cold room with absolutely nothing to do, his mind turned to what he wanted to discuss. Unable to come up with solid answers, he returned his attention to the sound of the rain. The rain hardly resembled the rain in the mountains, though he could still recognize it barely. Its smell and sound were harsher, but at the end of the day, rain was still rain. In other words, water is wet. So in this world, alien as it was, it could have had something in common with the mountains. The trivial detail perked him up a little. He liked how the town looked soaked in rain. Naturally he preferred sunny weather, but he liked rain in his own way. The fog from the rain had soaked up the scent of the soil and entered one mind and driven him home. It was at times like these that he was able to numb the anxiety that the city gave him. But he then let out a discouraged sigh. Hello there, Fatal. How pathetic. He'd already been here for 2 weeks and thought of his hometown still, and thoughts of his hometown still made him sad. Look, I've been living here for over 2 years now, and I still feel weirdly homesick at times. It's fine, don't worry about it. Perhaps feeling that he was being unfair to his new life, he composed himself and continued to wait patiently. He's got bandages around his neck. Or was that his undershirt? As if having a passion for distractions, his attention returned to the sound of the rain once more. Waiting like this didn't seem to be particularly hard for him. He quietly endured the numbing cold and the hour alone with calm deep breaths. As the saying goes, good things come to those who wait. Do they though? At a strong point of his own not, he was astonishingly patient. It was certainly helping him out in this moment. She, on the other hand, was livid. The profile of the transfer student had been explained to her on the way to the meeting room. She was told he had lived in his whole life up in the mountains without any electricity. Oh. When does this take place? Well, definitely not a modern time, but I mean, more than half of civilized society would have been an utter mystery to him.
なんて絶望的な断絶。戦後どころか戦前の話じゃない。ロビンソンにも程がある。
What a miserable level of isolation. How is this even possible in post-war Japan? He's like Robinson Crusoe. I don't even know how to pronounce it in English. She had every right to be angry. Well, Fatal, I don't have much to go off by now, so I can't really give you the rundown on that. This village had apparently remained isolated in the mountains for many years. Contact with the villagers in the foothills of the mountains only occurred once in a month or so. This is unfathomably in modern Japan. Although expressways and Japan Rail, the old national railways, now span the country like arteries, it wasn't entirely impossible for mountain villages like his to exist. Perhaps you could imagine how someone born into such circumstance would think or live.
電気がないって、村に行き渡っていないだけで公衆電話ぐらいはあったんですよね。
Also, if we're going off the phone that we saw earlier, it's like I guess it takes place somewhere in the 80s, maybe, give or take. When you say no electricity, you mean in general, right? Like you must have had access to public phone.
なかったそうだよ。こっちに暮らすようになってまず驚いたのが電話だそうだし。
Apparently not. He mentioned how shocked he was by the phones when he started living here.
電話って便利ですね。なんて真顔で言われてね。そういえばそうだなぁと再確認させられたぐらいだよ。
I kid you not, he said. I kid you not. He said, wow, telephones are so useful. Couldn't really deny that, could I? She shot a slight long glare his way as he laughed. It seemed that the naivete of the country boy she had I'm struggling all of a sudden. It seemed that the naivete of the country boy cheered up Mr. Yamashiro a bit.
駐在もいないってことか。うちも実家は山奥ですから、電気が通っていないのはありえないとは言いませんけど。
They probably didn't have police officers either. My family home is up in the mountains, so it's not inconceivable they wouldn't have electricity.
そいつ、学校も知らないんですか？
But he doesn't even know where the school is.
うん。どんなものかは知っていたそうだけど、実際来るのは今日が初めてらしい。それで緊張していたのかな。あまり会話も弾まなかった。
Nope, he heard of them, but it's apparently his first time visiting one. Maybe that's why he's nervous. He wasn't very talkative.
ああいうのも野生児っていうのかな。狼に育てられた狼少年みたいな。あ、いや、探検隊の話だね。
He's almost, what would you call it, feral? Like a boy raised by wolves. I suppose that makes us a safari. Jesus Christ.
怖いな、青崎くん。冗談だって。そう睨まないでくれ。
Hey, you're scaring me, Ozaki. I was joking. Go easy, okay?
大丈夫。話してみた感じ。 おとなしい子だったから。なんていうか、言葉の通じない小動物みたいな感じ。
And don't worry, I got a feeling from talking to him that he's a nice kid. He was almost like, I don't know, a cute little animal that doesn't speak human.
山城先生、その例え、気休めになってませんから。
Your jokes and metaphors aren't helping. They really are pretty bad, aren't they? As she gave a blunt reply, she tried to stimulate her mind about life without electricity would be like, but the thought of it took her sour mood from bad to worse. After all, it was a world she had never known. She could understand why the teachers had given up. She too wanted to give up and return to her wombat, but her good-for-nothing pride was holding her hostage. Not only did the teachers believe she was up to the task, but she also believed that she could do it. It wasn't easy to go back on her word, no matter how bad things looked after the fact. She walked along the hallway, the rain pattering in the background. The meeting room was already in sight. With a furrowed brow, she fixed her long hair in anticipation of meeting another stranger within. Her elegant strides were like those of a confident general going into battle. Skipping words there. Oops.
青崎くん、
Awazaki?
君を信頼してる僕だけど、念のため確認しておくよ。なんていうか、優しくね。できれば笑顔とか作れないかな。
Just when you think they don't talk and they continue. I believe in you and all, but I'll say it again. Be nice, okay? Can you at least try to smile?
作り笑いは苦手です。一応努力しているつもりですが。
I'm bad at faking smiles, but I'll do my best.
ああ、そうなんだ。それはよかった。
Really, that's a relief.
いやー、ほんとよかった。青崎くんにも苦手なものってあったんだね。
I really mean it. It's good to know that you're not good at everything. I hate it when people tell me to smile on the camera. I can't smile on pictures. I don't know why, it just feels forced. Mr. Yamashiro's shoulders slumped as the second they reached the meeting room. As he put his hand to the door, his eyes seemed to say to her, "Be nice, please." He's only made her more irritated.
分かってるわよ。愛想が悪いってのは。でも笑顔なんて意識して作るものじゃないんだし。
I already know I'm not the friendliest looking person in the world, but I can't just make myself smile at the drop of a hat. Chat, the more I get to hear about her, the more relatable she turns out to be.
だいたいそういうインスタントな人付き合いなら飛び丸の方が向いてるって。
You should have asked Toby Mara if that's what you were after. Smile at the camera translates to look like a serial killer planning his next move for me. Yeah, that's relatable. I always just look like weirdly creepy or just look like a complete idiot when I have to smile on camera. It's like, it doesn't work. Like, I can't do it. People say that it looks fine, but I look at myself and it feels so bad. She sighed about her social shortcomings, but then it occurred to her that her being called into a school on the day off while being sleep deprived wasn't anything to smile about anyway. She also thought about the person responsible for this mess would be better off attending elementary school. It might not be his fault, but neither was it her duty or no obligation to do the teacher's work for them. At the very least, they could have used their brains and organized this all on a normal school day. Another complaint she wanted to voice later.
いや、というか敵。なんであろうと敵。悪いけど、情状酌量以前に敵。
Look, it's also your fault for staying up to 5 at night, but sure, whatever. I hate him already. He's my sworn enemy and I haven't even met him. Sorry, but I couldn't care less about his extenuating circumstances.
間が悪いのはお互い様っていうか、ほんと、なんでよりにもよってこんな忙しい時に。
You think this isn't awkward for me too? Honestly, why did it have to happen to me when I'm so busy? Busy sleeping, A burning headache from a lack of sleep had boosted their aggression by 10%. No matter how harmless the guy on the other side of the door may be, anyone who disturbed her sleep is the enemy. That's also mood. And just as she was reaching the peak of annoyance, Mr. Yamashiro opened the door to the meeting room. The room slowly slid into view. She didn't care for formalities. Just looked straight ahead and stomped into the room. And found herself face to face with the most unusual opponent. Opponent? Alright. Before we go on, let's see this from another perspective. Turning back the clock just a little. You don't have to do anything. For some of these words are prized as luxury, for all is their unbearable torture. We get his point of view now, I guess. For the proactive girl, it was definitely the former, though she'd be too suspicious of the motives of anyone giving her such a gift to accept it. Ugh. For the passive boy, it was definitely the later, A bit of phone that made him homesick, though at this very moment his mind was still distracted with the wait for his face to reveal any discontent. He maintained perfect posture as he sat at the grey sky. He had already waited a whole hour, but he figured he must have had reasons for making him wait. And as long as he had the sound of the rain to soothe him, he could keep on waiting.
でもそろそろ9時を過ぎるのか。どうなんだろ
Must be 9 o'clock already. Yeah, seems about right. He'd been vaguely keeping track of the time as he listened to the rain. Due to the holiday, the school building was completely silent, except for the patter of the rain on the window. The mood felt as damp as the air. It was then. He heard the heavy clatter of footsteps approaching.
う。よかった。忘れられているかと思った。
Finally, I thought they'd forgotten about me. He could hear 2 sets of footsteps, one heavy set belonging to an adult. I mean, we don't... Wait, it feels like it should be saying and another set of footsteps, but we don't... That feels weird. He breathed a sigh of relief as the door slid open.
すまないね。随分とお待たせしちゃって。
Sorry to keep you waiting. The first person he saw was a man wearing glasses and an awkward smile. That's Mr. Yamashiro, the one who brought me here.
ってあれ里中先生いないんですか？ひどいな。話し相手になってあげてと言ったのに。
Hey, where's Mr. Satonaka? I told him to keep you company. He shouldn't have left you there. Mr. Yamashiro scratched his head, looking increasingly apologetic. And then from behind him, with a tight-lipped expression that made it clear that she didn't want to be there, a dark-haired girl with a determined look in her eyes appeared. Don't even forget the face reveal. Damn. Sojo gulped. The sound of the rain on the window faded into nothingness. That's when he knew. This was how it felt when time stood still. Don't tell me you fell in love already. She blinked quickly a few times as if taken aback. Why was anyone's gas? The boy was everything she expected a Neath country boy to look like. However, she felt something she couldn't understand. From behind him came an old chick that's probably gonna be a love interest. His eyes widened slightly as if taken aback. The reason was obvious. Putting his feeling into words was a different matter altogether, so we'll never know exactly what he experienced in that moment. That's when it hit him. He said she'd been touched by the hands of destiny.
紹介するよ。彼が転入生の静木宗十郎くん。
Allow me to introduce the two of you. This is the 12th student I mentioned, Sojuri Shizuki. Shizuki?
で、こっちの彼女が静木くんの案内役。
And this is a girl that will be showing you around.
うちの生徒会長で休日を押して新しい仲間の案内役を買って出てくれた青崎青子くんだ。
It's a lot of hours. She's a student council president that came in on the day off just to welcome you. Her name is Aoko Aozaki. Oh wow. His voice and the sound of rain seemed distant. This is how they first met. Such was the start, for better or worse, like the ephemeral beauty of fireworks. Getting poetic already. Uh-oh. It was commonly believed among the students that Aoko is always in a foul mood. But this gossip was 90% prejudice, as Aoko simply didn't have the time to be irritated 24/7. The reality was she simply didn't want to explain herself all the time. And therefore seemed angry about something, obvious or not. Man, the amount of times that I've heard people say like, you look angry, and then don't want to explain myself, is like, yeah, also quite a lot. His isol gossip, however, did lead to the earning one of the titles of the school's 7 deadly fasts. Oh, we're doing that again, huh? Actually, no, it was supposed to be 7 horror stories in schools, not deadly traps, whatever. The remaining 10% of the gossip was right on the mark. Aoko herself often had the feeling that her tendency to feel animosity towards harmless things was akin to what chronic headache sufferer might experience. Today fell under that 10%. For today her anger was pure and the childish and selfish display was befitting of her actual age. Look, Chad, it's fine to be angry at people if you get waking up early. Trust me. The meeting room was dimly lit and watching the course of the rain. To reduce electricity costs, school regulations forbid the use of light during the day. This was the setting of the three of them find themselves in. And why does he look injured? What did he do? Did he fall off the mountain? The first impression was that his calm demeanor reminded him of a field of wildflowers. In spite of his perfect posture, his overall air felt placid, tame even. And though describing him as meek would be going too far, at the very least he was passive. Even through his uniform, she could see that he was thinner than average. His dark hair was unkempt and he came across as a wholly forgettable boy. If she had to look at him in a more positive light, she would describe him as a more young man than a boy. It was his calm demeanor that made him seem more mature. Was it the cause of Aoki's reasonless reaction? He seemed almost too at home at the meeting room, and she was left with the impression that it was her and the teacher, not his outsider, who were the guests there. She felt an unidentifiable aggravation building in within her. Always that her right to be here was in the question. Aoka felt herself raising her natural defenses.
信じられない。
What's with me?
私、今わけもなく怒ってない。
Am I really this angry for no reason? She hated not understanding things, her own emotions in particular. It pained her less than you would imagine for a perfectionist like her, but it still lighted her like a thorn in her side.
いやーほら青崎くん挨
I
拶
do
してあげ
feel
な
the
くち
teacher
ゃ
should relieve at this point. Oh, Zaki, why don't you introduce yourself? This is a very bad laugh. Miss Yamashiro's attempt to relieve the tension was equally irritating.
挨拶。
Introduce myself, huh? After casting a nasty glance in the teacher's direction, Aoka turned her face to the boy. From an outsider's perspective, it might have looked like a stare down. And in that instant, the culmination of her emotional state hurled her towards the innocent boy and skewered him.
いや待たせたねしずきくん
Again, sorry for the wait, Shizuki. Hearing his name, Soju came to his senses. His stunned gaze shook loose. He took a deep breath to clear his head. Chalking it up to the nurse, Mr. Yamashiro broke out a smile and turned to the girl standing beside him.
紹介するよ彼が転入生のしずき宗十郎くん
I'll do the introductions then. This is his transfer student, Sojuro Shizuki.
でこっちの彼女がしずきくんの案内役うちの生徒会長で休日を押して新しい仲間の案内役を買って出てくれた青崎青子くんだ
And this is our student council president who came in on a day off just to show you around. Her name is Aoko Awazaki. Having been introduced by Mr. Yamashiro, the girl took a step forward. Her eyes were merciless. Her stare an unspoken threat to violently trample her opponent. That's just student president things, don't worry about it. Sojiro, on the other hand, managed to keep his own composure despite the shock at how confrontational she appeared. He had never been greeted quite like this before, but supposedly mistakenly that this was how people treated each other in the city. The exchange must have looked quite dramatic to an onlooker. A girl ready to brawl. An earnest country boy desperate to understand. It was a murderous limbo, especially for anyone in the room with him. Like Mr. Yamashiro, for example. Alright. While he had thought he had made the right decision in choosing an older student to help him out, she was in an inexplicably bad mood, and the tension in the air was undeniable. It was in this moment that he realized his failure. His realization that it had come far too late. One false move in this girl, for whom no problem was too large, would becoming a storm that would rock the very foundation of the school. Just as the almighty Joker card could bring either fortune or disaster, the sole teacher who had been present at the time would come to bear the blame for the scandal that ensued.
いけてる二人とも気は合うようだね
Wow, you two really seem to have hit it off.
それじゃあ僕はこの辺でいいかな
I suppose I can leave it to you two then. Mr. Yamashiro laughed nervously as he crept towards the door.
僕は職員室にいるから
Teacher was scared.
終わったら来るように。
He's showing fear. I'll be in the faculty room, stop by when you're finished.
いいかい青崎くん。
You'll be alright, won't you? I was like,
なんていうか生徒会長としての度量の広さをこの際僕に信じさせてほしいかな。
you're the student council president, don't let me down. I run away, what a coward. Mr. Yamashiro left, leaving the two in a locked eye state, one in which one set of eyes was doing all the glaring. All that remained in the room was an artless boy, and a cross-armed guarded girl. The two lingered in silence. They resembled choky players agonizing over their first moves, doing as only Aoko was reading so much into the situation. She decided to put her irritation aside for the time being. With no reason to feel revulsion for him in the first place, she sighed deeply and faced Sojiro.
まあいいわ。山城先生がヒルアンドンなのは今に始まったことじゃないし。
Whatever. It's not like this is the first time that Mr. Yamashiro landed me in it.
それで、あなた名前は？
So, what's your name again? Her tone was nothing if not reproachful, though he had done nothing to offend her. But the boy failed to pick up on it. Incapable of such venom himself.
ああ、しずき宗十郎かな。君は青崎さんだったね。
I'm hearing audio crackle every now and then. What is it? This is the filter that I put on to boost the audio, or what is this? I hope this is not going to become bothersome at some point. And again, it only seems to be when they're actually talking, so that's also weird. I don't know. I'm Sojiro Shizuki, he replied, and you're Miss Aozaki, right? For whatever reason, he came across as happy in his response. Nice face.
さんはいいわ。柄じゃないか
Compliment
ら。
miss, that's not my style.
こっちはしずきくんでいい？
Is Shizuki
い
fine?
いって何が？
What do you mean?
だから呼び方。くんづけでいいかって聞いてるの。何よ？おかしなこと言った？私。
Hello? Did I say something weird?
いや、すごく。
Yeah, very. The boy replied immediately as it was a natural response, but quickly second-guessed himself.
いや、いいんだ。
Um,
ごく一般的なんだろ
never mind. It must be normal here.
う。しずきくんで頼む。君は青崎でいいんだよな。
You can call me Shizuki. You mind if I call you Aozaki?
え、よろしく。
Suit yourself. She followed her builder reply with a swift turn away from him. Though she was hardly thrilled at the prospect of a task at hand that had been entrusted to her, and it was a personal policy to see it through to the end.
悪いけど、優しくしてあげる気はないから。
Sorry, but I'm not in the mood for pleasantries.
時間も惜しいし、手早く行くわよ。
Don't be short, so let's get this over with.
それは助かる。やっぱり時間は大切だ。
Sure, I know your time is valuable. Aoka's blunt rancor was lost on him once again. Humans tend to be overly conscious about being ignored, for whatever form that takes. But despite being peeved at landing none of her attacks, Aoko did her best to act professional and directed her guest to the hallway. He's just too dumb to pick up that you're angry, don't worry about it. There was no sunlight in the hallway, nor any sign of life. It was more like a prison than the cave was. It was more like a prison than that cave that was a meeting room. As the dawn on Aoko into the hallway matched her mood, she sighed once again.
まず聞いておくけど、山城先生から聞いたことは理解してる？
First things first, did you understand everything Mr. Yamashiro explained to you?
ああ、学校の仕組みについては分かった。
Yes, I get how the school works.
この建物全部に同い年の人間がいるなんて、ちょっと想像できないけど。
But it's still a bit hard to imagine that everyone here is around the same age.
そう、よかったわね。
I was hoping for fate, but I guess this is fine. Well, we first have to get through this, then I'll get through Tsukihime, and then I'll probably get to Fate. So, still gonna be a good year, I imagine. I see, great. Go rubbed her forehead. The Soju kid had no idea what it was in for. Apparently, all he'd heard about schools, it was a place where a lot of people met to study. High school teachers imparted their students with knowledge in various fields of study while fostering discipline and creativity. Creativity, huh? Well, not in this day and age. But never did Aoko imagine that she would have to explain the concept of school itself to someone. Yes, fundamentals were important, but this was absurd. Such serious doubts whether he could even handle classes, but Mr. Yamashiro insisted that things would work out somehow. Soju had managed to pass the transfer exam after all, barely.
ま、私には関係ないけど。
Not my problem. Naoko grumbled mentally as she walked down the hallway. She consoled herself with the fact that today was the only day that she'd be spent with this boy out of time. Or at least, she tried to keep it that way.
青崎、
Naozaki? He asked, calmly trying to get her attention.
何？
What?
こっちも一つ聞いていいかな。
Can I ask you something?
だから何？
Yes, what is it?
俺の気のせいだと思うんだが、君はまるで何かを睨んでいるように見える。
I could be wrong about this, but you seem to be upset about something.
やはり今朝は悪いものでも。
You're not a morning person, are you? Chat, who on earth is a morning person? If you are, you're probably very weird. His gaze revealed earnest concern as if asking her to remember to eat breakfast. Nice expression. Excuse me. It was like another hammer to her head. I'm loving these expressions just now. It was true that the Oak had been glaring at Shoujo this entire time. Glaring hot red daggers, in fact. Not just at him, but at the universe. Even on the best day, Rumor used to remark.
青子の視線は普通の人には厳しいわ。
Yeah, I guess you wake up like 4 times a day. Waking up 4 times a day doesn't make you a morning person, though. It just makes you very sleepy. Alright, Sasa confirmed to be the weird one in chat. Most people can handle your skull, Oko.
もう少し多くのことに寛大になるべきね。
Alice's voice sounds familiar. Can't place it right now, though. It wouldn't hurt you to be a little bit more tolerant. She'd be blind to her emotions by so naked on her face that people treated her like a powder keg. How naive could Roy be that he could not pick up on this?
私をバカにしてるってわけじゃなさそうよね。
It seems to be
この場合。
a bit audio stutter in voice recordings at times. Weird. He's not making fun of me, is he? No, he couldn't be. Even she found her own attempt at reassuring herself unconvincing. It began to dawn on Oko far too late. As compared to her, this laid-back transfer student might as well have been from another planet.
いいわ。言葉にしないとわからないようだから
This is
言う
written
け
by
ど、
now, so he might as well be from
ま
a
る
different
で
planet
じ
for
ゃ
all
な
we
くて
know.
ズバリそうなの。
Look, let it spell me out for you, because you're just not getting it.
あなたの気のせいじゃなくて、私は視線で遠回しに感情を表現してたの。いちいち声に出すのも会話にするのも面倒だから。
It is not your imagination. I am angry and anyone can see that in my eyes. It's easier than trying to make conversation. In response to her words, the Martian clapped his hands together. The Martian, huh?
なるほど。どうしてそうしたいのかはわからないが、確かにそっちの方が手っ取り早い意思表現だ。
And that makes sense. I don't know why you want to do it that way, but again, it's faster way to express yourself. Soju accepted her reasoning without an argument. Though he still had no idea what kinds of emotion he was trying to express. It was as if he could hear the words but didn't grasp their meaning. Ideas that should have connected when instead separated into blocks.
確かにずれてるわ、こいつ。
So it is true. He really is peculiar. Mr. Yamashima's word made sense to her now. What was odd about this boy was way beyond naivety. A stranger in a strange land he may be, but he was only civilized to give him some jet-lag-induced confusion.
じゃ、とりあえずあなたの教室に行くから。
Let's finish the classroom. She had regained her composure. Soju raised his hand and stopped in his tracks.
あと一つ。
Just one more thing. I waited for Soju to continue to bow his patient to a fault. She rubbed her forehead with her hand again, nursing a vague feeling of uneasiness.
これもちょっとした疑問なんだが、
I wanted to
なん
ask
で
why
君
he's so
は
angry.
怒ってるの？怒るのが商売とか、そういう家柄の人なのか？
Is it your line of business or does it run in your family? And then he got punched. A long silence. Though she knew it wouldn't change the situation, she remembered her regret at answering the phone that morning. You shoot load. Okay, so the audio is still loud. Hold on a second. Why are you the first one to tell me? I've been going for almost an hour at this rate. Oh. Oh, hold on, where is it? Oh wait, this is the one. Let's lower it by this and see how that goes. He meant no harm. She repeated this thought like a mantra in an attempt to keep her impulses in check.
別にあなたのせいじゃないから気にする必要はないわ。
It's not you if that's what you're worried about.
ただ、この一瞬とお昼まで眠っていた場合を測りにかけたら、あまりに利益の違いがあって頭を抱えただけよ。
People may be watching, maybe I'm the only one listening, I don't know. Or you're only listening. I mean, there might also be some audio balance on your end, I guess. I'm just trying to not think how much better my day would have gone if I'd just slept until noon. With that vague answer, she started to walk again, and turned her gaze away from this rude stranger named Sojiro Suzuki. While that constitutes normal is certainly up for debate, most would undoubtedly refer to him as so. He was so simple and nice and boy with nondescript features, even as if an ice cream flavour he would be vanilla. Alright, he's a vanilla bitch, got it. And Sojiro found her to be very businesslike and full of life. There was a certain purpose to her movements, and as they began and ended in an orderly fashion. The way her finger raised when she pointed at things. The way she made her way across the hallways and classrooms. The way she would occasionally glance back at him to make sure he was keeping pace. Each and every movement was so impressive that he couldn't take his eyes off her. That's how it started yet. Marco showed him to his classroom, to his homeroom, Class C of the 11th grade. The room certainly displayed a more human touch than the previous meeting room, but Sojiro was a little wiser as to its function. Marco gave a brief explanation before they visited individual subject classrooms, as well as the gym, cafeteria, locker room and school infirmary. Sojiro asked so many questions that so much time passed before they reached the AV room on the second floor.
まずいな。
Oh dear. Sojiro stopped, looking generally concerned.
あと20分経つと1時だ。
It's 20 to 1 already.
嘘でしょ？うちの校舎そんな広くないわよ。
You're kidding, right? The school isn't that big, but we'll be done soon. The tour had begun around 10, which meant that in 3 hours had passed. A tour of a school couldn't take anywhere near this long.
そうだったわね。行く先々で根掘り葉掘り聞かれちゃ、そりゃ何時間でも経つわ。日が暮れていないのが不思議なくらいね。
Maybe if you didn't ask us so many questions, we'd be done by now. It's a miracle it's still light out. Marco glared at Sojiro. She was being sarcastic, of course, knowing full well he would never pick up on it. Is he? To her surprise, he looked down apologetically, unable to hide his dejection.
なんだこいつ。
Oops, I think I broke him. The guy before was now nothing like earlier. In contrast to seeing his one impenetrable veneer when he first met, she found herself feeling sympathetic. Momentarily at least, until her irritation returned from full force.
で、何がまずいの？覚えることが多すぎてパンクしたなんて言わないでね。
Oh, what's the hurry? Don't tell me your brain's not big enough to remember all this stuff.
いや、それもあるけど、学校のことは別にして、1時になるとまずいんだ。
Well, there's that, but there's more about it almost being 1 o'clock. Sojiro's gaze wandered as if he was worried about something. I guess he's just hungry, isn't he? If he was worried about the weather, he would have had a hard time seeing as there were no windows in his hallway.
へえ、時間を気にするってことは用事があるのね。
Don't tell me. You've got somewhere better to be.
そう。人の予定を引っかき回しておいて、自分だけ好きなようにやろうって言うんだ。
That's perfect. I take time out of my day for you, and you don't have the decency to even hang around.
なんだ、顔に似合わずいい人ね、君。
You're a real piece of work, you know that.
いや、褒めても何も出ないぞ。
This guy. Thanks, I guess. That's nice of you to say.
誰も褒めちゃいないわよ。
Not a compliment. She yelled at him, unable to hold back her fury.
で、
Well,
で、
well, what?
それで、
What's
一体
happening in
何の
20
用なの？
minutes? Sojir's face lit up as he finally understood what she was asking him.
そこは秘密にしておきたい。
It's a secret. He said it with a perfectly straight face.
慣れ始めたつもりだったけど、こいつのこういったテンポに失神しそうになるわ。
Every time I think I figured this guy out, he finds a way to trip me up. Her frustration was natural. Still, she did everything she could to stifle her feelings and fake a smile.
しずきくん、
You want to repeat it, Shizuki? She took a step forward. Oh, she's gonna hit him,
秘
isn't
密
she?
だってば
Like I said, it's a secret. Feeling the mood changed drastically, Soichiro took a step back. And another. And another. No matter how many steps he took back, she kept edging towards him. She was smiling, but she thought she could see the blood boiling beneath her skin.
これ最後の質問にしとくわね。
Last
あ
question.
なた私をからかって楽しい？
Do you enjoy mocking me? He had no intention of mocking her. Now at this point he doubted presenting any evidence to prove this would do much to erase his forced smile on her face.
分かった説明する
Let me explain. His arms raised in surrender. She held out her advance and freed her face from his unseemly smile.
実は1時からアルバイトがあるんだでもここはそういうの禁止なんだろ
Truth is, my part-time job shift started upon. But
So
students
that
are allowed to
you-
have jobs, right?
Ah.
Oops.
禁止されてるから秘密にしようと思ったの？バカね。それなら許可さえ下りていれば問題ないわよ。
Wait, by you being so tight-lipped about it because you thought you'd get in trouble, all you have to do is get permission to weep.
知ってる
Haven't heard that
試
word
験
in
の
a
時
while.
に許可をも
Weep.
らってる
Well, actually, a lie. I've heard it recently watching, I was rewatching Black Lagoon. But I haven't heard it long since then. I know, and I did. I got permission when they accepted me to the school.
へえ。
Really? Aoka's face lit up as she realized she might not be the piece of work she thought him to be. Yeah.
しかし許可は一つしかもらえなかった
What do you mean, one of my jobs? But I only got permission for one of my jobs.
一つってあなた掛け持ちでバイトしてるの？
Wait, you have more than one job?
これでも2件減らしたんだ
Well, I quit two of them.
生活費だけで大変なのに学費まで稼がなくちゃいけないなのに働き先は一つだけというのはあんまりだと思わないか
Living expenses are bad enough, but now that I have to earn money for school as well, don't you think it's unreasonable for them to only let me work one job? Living expenses, huh?
いや、あんまりなのはあなたの方だと思うけど。
No, I think you're the one who's being unreasonable. I was still irritated, her opinion changed a little. She was impressed that he was able to take care of his tuition and living expenses all on his own. She could also empathize with having no time to oneself. Her anger began to subside. The words part-time job were about the last thing she ever expected to hear out of this country boy's mouth.
そういうことなら仕方ないわね。
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
いいわ、行きなさいよ。事情は分かったから。
It's fine, you can go, I get it.
青崎はいいのか
Will he be okay? She had no idea what this question meant, but at least she understood he was trying to be considerate. Which also took her by surprise. She figured he'd be just as dense about people's feelings as was about everything else.
別に。私もこのまま帰るから。
I'll be fine, I'll just head home. First though, she thought it was best that they both stopped by the faculty room. Mr. Yamashiro had mentioned that the transfer procedures had already been completed, so all that remained for him was to sign off on the duties.
先生、案内終わりました。
I finished showing him around.
それはお疲れ様しずきくんもお疲れ様
He's pretty angry about it
それで
though.
校舎を回った感想はどうかな
Great job! It goes for you too, Shizuki. What did you think of her school?
ありがとうございますなんというかとても学校ですね
What do you mean? Thank you for the tour, it's like a real school.
そうかそうかうん明日から頑張りなさい
Huh, it's great to hear. Okay then, best of luck starting tomorrow. She had no interest whatsoever to this pointless wrap-up meeting.
山城先生のことは気にしないでいいわ。
You have to forgive Mr. Yamashiro.
教え子に厄介なことを押し付けてふんぞり返っているぐらい職員室が好きなんだから。何時間でも待ってるでしょ。
He likes the faculty room so much he chooses to kick back there while he's getting students to do the dirty work for him. I bet he spends hours in there.
いえ、待ってるべきじゃない？
Actually, it's pretty smart of him.
そうか青崎がいいんならいいんだ
Look at this earnest looking good boy pose he's making right now. Okay, Ozaki, if you're fine with it, then so am I. Hmm? There it was again. I never told you what I was getting at. I got no idea.
それじゃあ行くよ今日はありがとう
I'm going to get going. Thanks again for today.
今日だけよ、今日だけ。
Yes, today. Today only. She shooed him away with her hand. His face went into a broad smile as he found the gesture endearing. It was a softer expression than she had grown accustomed to seeing out of him. It was the kind of smile that would make anyone smile back. Well, most people at least. Aoko Ozaki didn't betray the slightest hint of a smile.
それじゃあまた。
See you later.
Huh?
Huh? And with this friendly farewell, Soju walked away to the end of the hallway. And so she thought before he turned to the next class over. Did he just? Soju headed straight for the classroom's windows. Whereupon he opened it with ease. The chilly November air filled the room as the soft sounds of the rain doubled in volume. In that instant, she realized his intention with opening the window. She really wished she hadn't.
いや、待て待て待て
No, stop. He already had one leg out of the window when she dared to stop him.
何するつもりよ、あんたは
What do you think you're doing?
何って、アルバイトに行くんだけど。
What do you think I'm doing? I'm leaving for my job, that's what.
その窓は人が出入りするところじゃないの
You know that this window isn't an exit, don't you?
だいたい、ここ何階だと
I
思っ
mean,
て
do
る
you even
の
know which floor you're on? She saw the light of understanding dawn in his eyes.
死ぬところだった。
Oh my god, I almost
2階
died.
から降りた。
Who put an exit here? This is dangerous.
危ないのはあんた
Motherfucker doesn't know what a window is. Oh. It's the lack of something between your ears that's dangerous. Her insult went right over his head.
あのね、こっちじゃ窓から人は出入りしないの。さっき言っとくべきだったわ。
People here don't normally enter and exit through windows, okay? You should probably remember this information for future reference.
知ってるよ。時間がないんで慌ててたんだ。
Oh, I know. I just wanted to save some time.
ありがとう。これからは気をつける。
But thanks, I'll be more careful from now on. What the fuck do you mean, saving some time? He pulled his leg back inside and closed the window. His school uniform was soaking wet from the rain.
いいけど、私は別に。
Hey, be my guest.
あなたがどこから外に出ようが関係ないもの。ただ、
Oh,
できれば私の前ではやらないでほしいだけよ。
Go outside any way you like, just don't in front of me from now on.
それより、あなた、本当に明日か
I
ら
love
学校
this
に来る
expression.
の
Anyway, you start school tomorrow, right?
来るよ。不安だけど、案内してもらったし。
Yeah, I'm a little nervous though, which is why I came in early for the tour. He bid her farewell before running away down the hallway. She hoped he would walk down the stairs and leave through the school entrance like a normal person.
大丈夫なのかあんなんで。
I wonder if he's really going to be okay here. The image of him disappearing into the distance popped into her head in spite of her ire. She had no intention of spending any more time with him, and yet she felt strangely anxious. She couldn't tell if the feeling was fueled by some concern or irritation. Why had she even gotten angry with this insignificant transfer student in the first place? A strange day with a strange transfer student resulting in strange emotions. Her head tilted as she reflected on what should have been a more enjoyable day than the irritating experience she just had.
いっか。
Whatever.
どうせこれっきりなんだし。
It's not as if I'll see him again. That's where you're wrong. The sound of the rain echoed quietly around her. The grey sky seemed frozen in time. It was impossible to discern whether it was morning or evening. Mr. Yamashiro and Aoko had almost left the school. The unlit classroom looked overly gloomy and ominous as Aoko stood in it alone. She pulled up her sleeve. Her dainty and remarkable watch showed that it was almost 1 o'clock.
時間、合ってる。
He was right about the time. I guess he just has a good internal clock, then. She looked out of the window at the grounds below. She saw a boy in uniform running through the rain without an umbrella. A sight she must have been seen before, but for whatever reason it affected her far more than she wished. Uh-oh. Aoko did not stop by the faculty room before heading home. While Mr. Yamashiro's offer to drive her home was tempting, she decided it would ultimately be far more satisfying to ruin his day, but just as he had hers. She walked as quietly as she could towards the entrance and opened a bright red umbrella. As she had predicted that morning, the rain was waning in the afternoon. At this rate, it would probably cease completely in an hour or so. The distant sunshine would have likely reached her by the time she arrived home.
ま、それも悪くないか。
Well, I suppose it could be worse. She shrugged her shoulders in resignation. She neither liked nor disliked the rain, but she found herself enjoying her walk home with her red umbrella in hand. And walking through rain is pretty comfy. The teachers at Misaki High School weren't fond of bright colors, so Oko's red umbrella was an unusual sight. A ghost story about how the umbrella was one pure white has been making the rounds, but it featured Oko instead of a ghost. It was with that umbrella that she made her way to Misaki Station. Hey Chad, I know another story about an anime and an umbrella. It didn't end well. Misaki Private High School took its namesake from the town it was in. The area was once a sprawl of farmland and woodland, but rapid growth of the last 10 years had led to unprecedented modernization. There were some who fought to preserve Misaki's natural treasures.
残すことには賛成ですが、それでは残すだけになってしまうでしょう。
I agree in principle to preserving the land, but not at the expense of our prosperity. With those words, the major snuffed out the voices of the minority and ushered in a long-term plan for new urban development. More than enough funds for the urban development were collected, and the unassuming town of Misaki became the largest municipality of Misaki City in merely 10 years. Even though I like the modernity of the neighboring Yashirogi, or the elegance of Misaki Hills.
それも当然よね。どういじくってももともとが山中の宿場町だし、山ごと切り崩すって言うんなら別だけど。
What did people expect? To keep the town hidden atop the mountain forever? It's not like they were going to flatten the mountain or something. That's what you say now. Urbanization had been contained to the lowlands around the station, with most of the hills and the mountains still standing as it did 10 years prior. The exhaustion of funds succeeded in protecting the old Misaki where the citizens could not. It became a truly old suburban town, welcoming any increasing urban population with its vestiges of old country charm. God, I need a drink. Misaki High School was a private school established long before the town's current state. The original campus, built 50 years ago, was located high up in the mountains, making its current location its second incarnation. The path through the old grounds was not only steep and remote, it had become an overgrown game trail with the passage of time. For these reasons, among others, Misaki High School had been shuttered until almost 20 years ago, and it received a donation from a department store chain that allowed for the construction of a new campus in the city. And thus Misaki High School reopened its doors, the old woodland campus forgotten. In fact, most of the students attending Misaki High School were not from Misaki at all. The hardy rustic people of this country town preferred prefectural schools to private ones. Twitch cast for better or worse. I mean, the new one that got released on Steam is like the all ages version anyway. Like, they're not ever going to re-release the original 18+ version, that much is sure. Hell, those scenes only got written in because back in the time you needed those scenes in order to actually get sales going. So, it's just a bit of a leftover thing from that. Truth to be told, Aoko herself was one of them. All she had wanted after junior high was to move to Tokyo, where she hoped to spend the days touring her favorite bands on the way to entering a public university. But her hopes were dashed with the sister's departure. So there she was, walking alone in her town with only with a red umbrella to keep her company on what should have been a day off.
思い返してみると、私の人生ってなんか災難続きっぽい。
Looking back on it now, it's like my whole life has been one disaster after another. What is life if not multiple disasters in an order? Her frustration evaporated in the cold December air.
でもま、いっか。
Oh well,
退屈だけはしないわけだし。
With those words, her mood brightened a bit as she left the school in a rake. The busier part of town met her at the bottom of the gently sloping road. There we have the classic Japan road crossing sound. Misaki's train station was brand new. Once looking no prettier than an abandoned factory, it had been renovated into a multi-purpose structure with a huge department store on the east and west sides. When the department stores first opened, Aoko and her friends had been impressed with the modern feel, but in time the stores too became dated. She had no shopping to do today, so she passed by them. What she really wanted to do was visit a cafe, but she fought the urge, knowing that her roommate would never let her hear the end of it if she frittered away her money. When are we going to meet this mysterious Alice? She looked back and blinked. For just a moment you could have sworn she had seen someone suspicious in a red dress out in the corner of her eye. Did you say red dress? Suspicious? Oh no. Heh. It must have been her imagination. The sixth sense chill she was experiencing to spy was a familiar one at this point. She continued to walk home, brushing off the events as if it had never happened. In time, the chill faded, and it was all that was left the sounds of the town. Yeah. She sighed heavily. Had she imagined it? Even if it had all been in her head, she was far from comfortable with the feeling that still lingered.
夏場の方ってもう少しこう
Even mosquitoes had the grace will buzz off eventually. She grumbled under her breath.
波乱万丈、商売繁盛、諸行無常と。
Whether good or bad, this too shall pass, so the saying goes.
そうそう。忙しさに愚痴を言っても始まらないわ。
Yeah, I got enough on my plate as it is. Unfortunately, summer and bugs go hand in hand. She could see how bugs could be drawn to all the sweet fruit. Now, summer is especially funny if you have a massive tree in front of your window. So as soon as you open the window, bugs come swarming in. Ugh. It's nice to have it for the shade, but it's annoying. Rank with grease and heat, the kitchen was closed for the time being. The lunch rush had come and gone. But one last battle remained, dinner time. Only after the evening chaos could the kitchen crew remove their white armor and call it a day. In the midst of the war zone was a lone newcomer.
これ着るんですか?
Oh, I guess he works at the fast food chain. Do I have to wear this? His voice was uneasy, betraying how new he was.
気持ちはわかる。俺もどうかと思うけど、店長の言うことだから、もう笑顔で乗り越えてくれ。これも商店街の明日のためなんだとよ。本気で申し訳ないんだが、雨も止んだし、なんとか行ってきてくれないか。無事帰ってきたら晩飯おごってやっから。
I know how you feel, man. I'll feel the same. Unfortunately, it's the boss's orders, so you have to suck it up, okay? The future of this shopping arcade is at stake, apparently. I really hate to ask, but the rain has stopped, so would you mind going out for me? Get back in one piece and then I'll buy you dinner. His bright orange co-worker clasped his hands together as he begged for forgiveness as he settled him with an unreasonable task. No, it's part of town, alright. 10 years ago, Misaki City was a town of farm and woodland. But everything had changed. The front of the station was now limited with, was now lined. I didn't say limited. Was now lined with tall multi-story buildings, and the residential areas were similarly full of apartment complexes. The once rustic scenery around the station had long become a thing of the past. Excuse me? Shiro Inuzuka was the only place in the city that still contained vestiges of the old town, a pocket of the past inside an urban jungle. The road extended up a conspicuously high hill, to an old residential district far from the hustle and bustle of the train station. Long ago it had been considered unwise to build on high ground, so nobody lived above a certain elevation. Shiro Inuzuka, sitting at the top of a hill in the middle of town, was no exception to that convention and had no residences to speak of. The asphalt continued for some time, eventually giving way to a mountain road that swallowed up into the cover of trees. A lone vending machine stood on the mark of the boundary between town and beyond. Even the children knew that there was nothing beyond the new playground in development, and so enthralled them. Well, that was not entirely true. There was nothing besides the haunted house. Oh boy, stuff's going to get spooky, isn't it? Aoi Ozaka traversed a long slope. Slope. Below her, she could see the wall of Misaki. The symmetrical town looked like a miniature set from this height. It would look like a painting if there had been a sea next to it, but unfortunately Misaki City was very much landlocked. The world was overcast at the moment, the scene was quite breathtaking on clear evenings. The view was one thing that made the arduous climb worthwhile, and today she had been denied even that.
ああ、雨の日は自転車も使えないし、
Cycling.
1日に2回ぐらいバスでも通ってくれないもんかな、ほんと。
I'd cycle home if it wasn't for this rain. Even a bus route would be fine then. Oh, I've been using this road to get from school for almost 2 years now, but the journey had never gotten easier. Well, at least you get your daily walks then, I guess.
あれ、鍵閉まったまま？
Oh, it's locked.
アリス、まだ帰ってきてないんだ。
I guess Alice isn't back yet. With a weary shrug, she put her hand on the rusty iron fence. Quietly, the heavy gate swung open as if to welcome her home. Chad, is this Alice going to be blonde? is this the titular witch? There sits atop that hill a haunted house. That is how the story much shared around this town used to begin. But fresh rumors around the house had sprung to life almost as fast as the town modernization. Wait, this song? Is it gonna get claimed? Despite being dilapidated and abandoned for many years, lights can be seen inside the house at night. An angry murderer of crows often gathers atop the hill before mysteriously vanishing. Children get lost in the fog and have to be seen again. Late at night, a shrieking sound can be heard from all the way to town. This particular piece of slander was the one Naoko wished to discredit the most. The final rumor was that of an eye-catching luxury car that sometimes made its way up and down the hill. The rumors spread and grew by day. And while they grew, the house that everyone thought had rotted away was restored over the recent years. Deep in the wood atop of a hill no one dared to approach. Like a ruin shrouded from view even on the brightest of days. Stood a relic out of time, a building from a fairy tale. It really is Alice's house. The house. Was the Kuonji mansion. Kuonji? Everyone in town knew about the witch's house on the hill. It was an unabashedly haunted house where Ozoki resided, for reasons known only to her. Needless to say, it was not really haunted. The Kuonji family home is a grand western-style mansion with a long and storied history, stretching all the way back to England. It was too small to be a dormitory, yet too big to be called a house. The main building contained as many as 3 normal houses worth of rooms and was surrounded by a large all-encompassing courtyard. The perimeter of the grounds was surrounded by a high iron fence covered in thorny vines. There was also an annex in the main building. Given such extravagance, it was no wonder that it inspired rumors. To the town residents, the mere existence of its lavish and out-of-place mansion on top of the hill was a cause for suspicion. Rumors, lies and slanders were the price to be paid for fame. Yet only to a lodge that it was hard to disagree with the perception that vampires must be living there. Well, they might be fucking vampires for all we know.
ま、私はともかく、アリスはそういうのやりかねないし。
Well, I know I'm not the one, but Alice. She put her hand on the front door. It was a grand double door that would have paired well with the brass lock, and yet it was secured with little more than a simple keyhole. Pushing it open with one hand, she entered the supposedly haunted house. And by the way, if vampires were not enough to scare you, ghosts were known to appear on certain nights. The only thing that's missing is servants at this point. More classical music? Sure. Much like the weather outside, the foyer was overcast with shades of grey. Perhaps by deliberate design, the architect had chosen not to include any lights in the entrance area. The ceiling was 2 floors high. The only light in the room came from the skylight. Actually, is there even any audio being picked up right now? Because it feels like it's really low now. Hold on a second. Let me just turn this back up a bit again. It was particularly gloomy on rainy days. Oh, oops, I pressed the... Okay, so the B button gets rid of that. I pressed the wrong button there. On moonless nights, it was like the world itself ceased to be. Aoka decided the drawing room to the east would be a good place to rest, but knowing that she would not be able to relax until she changed clothes, she started up the stairs. The stairs curled up to the wall to the 2nd floor hall. There was a 3rd floor attic as well, accessible from the far end of the hall. She had never set foot in there over the 2 years she had lived there though. Spooky attic, got it. The Kuonji mansion was more or less divided into 2 wings, east and west. Aoka could be given the entire east wing, but 2 rooms were more than enough as far as she was concerned. She had no desire to open a door that would trap you in a storybook world or lead into an attic that would only be used for storage the last 5 years. Aoko's room was at the end of the East Wing's long corridor. She had elected for a smaller room for no other reason than that she thought it would be easier to clean. Well, good point. It was furnished with a large bed, her beloved mahogany desk, a wardrobe and a chest for her clothes, and two nine-shelf bookcases. That was the extent of what she brought from home. Her entire life of 16 years reduced to this. She also bought the next room down for her own purposes.
そうだ。アリスにもらった見張りと壊れてないかチェックしないと。
Oh yeah, I should check out the watchtower I got from Alice. What do you mean you call it a watchtower? She needed to see if the project had been working all night and borne fruit. The study next door served as a proof of the life she had been living for the last year and how different the life was from the one she had lived before. It was not a room for the person she had been. It was a room for the person she would be eventually become. A place of solitude that she could only enter, so she thought.
うわ、壊れてるどころか跡形もなく消え去ってる。やっぱ自己流アレンジはまだ早かったか。いいわよ。笑いなさいよ、コマ撮り。
Well, not only did it break, it vanished without a trace. Looks like I've still got a long way to go. Go ahead, laughed up Robin. Aw, small burp. The noisy neighbor that had intruded upon the sanctuary flew away. While not exceptionally talented, Aoko did not lack for efforts and was not afraid to fail. Monica had almost mistaken her approach from optimism. Mahogany from the planet of Malchus. I don't know. She changed the turn of her uniform and returned to the first floor. Comfy sweater time. Oh, she's wearing pants. She's a modern lady. Down the stairs, she opened the door to the east wing to enter the corridor dark as a cellar. The absence of windows meant it was pitch black without the lights on, so she flicked the switch and entered the nearby doorway. Ah yes, the Sandy TV.
電気のない生活か。想像したくない。
I love these I love these knockoff electronic brands and stuff like that in anime. Like, it's always funny what they come up with. Life without electricity, I don't even want to imagine it. It had been her idea to update the drawing room. The walls were decorated with extravagant patterns. And around the room there were large majestic sofas. And a luxurious Persian rug. Amidst it all was a 30-inch television that seemed completely out of place. It's a pretty big TV, yeah? I stood looking over all the furniture like the emperor with no clothes. The mansion's owner would have rather done without it, but to the commoner like Aoko, this is an essential commodity. They had fought over its presence at first, but eventually became to an agreement and now mutually enjoyed its modern comfort.
なんだ、人のことは言えないか。うちも案外時代錯誤な家だった。
I guess I'm one to talk. I came from a pretty traditional household myself. Now in a somewhat pleasant mood, she decided to brew some tea. She boiled some water in the kitchen, prepared a teapot, and made herself some black tea. I can't wait for all this classical music to get claimed, Jan. You know how YouTube works. Phew. With a flop, she sank into the sofa. She took a sip of her tea, and then another. Actually, the music seems kind of loud again. I don't know what I did here. I was kind of messing around with this filter here. Lulled by the ticking of the clock, she took a third sip and she pondered how to spend her afternoon. The sofa almost seemed to be inviting her, and she sunk even further into its comforting embrace. Aoko blurry opened her eyes as she lifted up her body from the cushions. She fell asleep. This was no dream or delusion. At some point a girl had sat down across from her. Not the least bit surprised, she reached for a teacup. But the tea within it had gone completely cold.
寝てた
Did I doze off? She asked a question to the girl at the other side of the table.
え
Yes. The girl answered it without lifting her gaze. Alice, I presume? When silent, she could have been mistaken for a beautiful doll. The girl sitting on the opposite of sofa was reading an old book. She had delicate limbs and pale white skin. Not a hint of humanity emanated from her melancholic aura. She had darker hair than Naoko, but her icy eyes were focused on the pages in front of her. I mean, I don't think those eyes are focused on anything, those are closed. Her clothes resembled that of a nun, but were actually a school uniform. In Naoko's humble opinion, the gloominess suited her. She evoked something like out of a painting. There was something unreal about her, as if she was frozen in time. The white of her gently arched neck so lovely even that Naoko found herself enchanted by it. The girl was one of the haunted house's 2 residents. Her name was Alice Koenji, and she was the same age as Naoko. It was
私
neat, Alice.
どれくらい寝てた
Oh, the music is kicking up again. Like, I'm glad I found a fix for that, but it's... well, inconsistent, I guess. How long was I asleep?
1時間と少し。ここで眠ると風邪ひくわよ。
Yeah, I've heard his voice somewhere recently. At least an hour. You'll catch a cold if you keep sleeping here. Alice answered indifferently. Not that it bothered Naoko, who was now used to it. She looked at the clock on the wall and saw that it was already 7. She had been asleep for 2 hours. The day had been a rough one for her, and she slept a little at night before, so it was no surprise that she had dozed off for as long as she had.
起こしてくれてもよかったのに
Wrong, Alice. You could have woken me up.
せっかくの紅茶が冷めちゃったじゃない
Oh, my tea's cold.
私が来た時はもう冷めてたわ。
She sounds like the, She sounds like Osanai from Shomu. It was already cold by the time I got here.
でしょうね行ってみただけよ
I'm sure it was, I'm just saying. Naoko drank down the rest of her cold tea in one gulp. Yuck. The poorly heated Konoji mansion was more than enough to clear her head and make her up.
こうなるとフォートナム&メイソンも何もないわね
Nothing quite beats this tea, not even the expensive kind from Britain. British tea? Got some British tea there?
おかえりアリス玉の贅沢もあんた抜きじゃ閉まらないってことかしら
Anyway, welcome home, Alice. The universe seems determined to keep me even from the occasional luxury without you.
今日は薬日か天中殺かちょっと早いけどお参りってのも十分ありかもね
Yeah, what is it about today? Is it just my luck or what? At this rate I'm due to a temple visit just to be safe. Naoko shrugged her shoulders as if resigning herself for her fate.
それで
Her fate, you say?
何があったの？
Something happened. After two years together, they knew each other quite well. Naoko had one way of asking questions, and Alice had another. Alice asked without raising her head, and Naoko gave the details.
まず謝らなくちゃいけない
I should start by
昨
apologizing.
日徹夜で完成させた例のあれ意味がなくなっちゃったのよちょっと目を離した隙に沸騰しすぎて壊れちゃったみたい
The project I was working on all night was a total failure. I only took my eyes off it for a second, but I think it boiled over and fell apart.
そうならないよう循環のコードを 2,3 本外したり縫合したりしたんだけど
To add that I shuffled the circulation codes as a precaution. Naoko tried to laugh it off as it was someone else's problem.
どういうこと？
And?
今朝休養が入って学校に呼び出し受けたのそこで転入生の世話を押し付けられて一日が無残にも消費されちゃって帰ってきたら跡形もなく消えてました
Something came up this morning and it was called into school. They made me show this transfer student around, and it took up my whole day. By the time I got back, it had vanished without a trace.
怒るアリス
You're not mad, are you?
別に青子の器物破損にいちいち怒っていたら一生分の口論をすることになるでしょ。
Hardly. If I got mad every time you broke something, there would be no end to the fighting.
代用品はあるからまた一から始めればいいわ。
I have more material, so you can just start over.
それより怒ってるのはあなたの方じゃないの？
However, aren't you really the one who's angry? Alice was very much on point today. It was true that despite her outward appearances, Oko was seething with frustration. That aside,
この転入生っていうのがひどくずれててね。
True enough, the transfer student I mentioned earlier was a real piece of work.
すごい山奥で暮らしてたらしくて、こっちの常識が通じないんだから。三問以下以って言葉があるけど、あれって本当のことなのね、アリス。
He's been living deep in the mountains and has little zero common sense. I know people say that the mountains are like an entirely different world, but I had no idea how true it was, Alice. Alice raised her head in response to hearing her name. But Oko could keep going on before she could get a word in edgewise. Oko, after all, expected no sympathy in the first place.
初対面から尺に触るやつだったけど、教室を案内した時なんか失神しそうになったわ。
We didn't get along well from the start, but things really took a turn for the worse when I took him to a classroom.
そいつ、教室で教師と1対1で授業を受けるもんだと思ってたらしいの。
He apparently told it.
それはそれでまだ流せる。許容範囲よ、あの程度の冗談は。
He apparently thought it was a place where I get a one-on-one tutoring, and that's not all. I mean, you're never going to believe this.
で、私が簡潔かつ丁寧に教室の何たるかを教えた後で、そいつなんて言ったと思う？
What do you think he asked when I politely explained what the classroom is to him?
それで青崎、他の教室は何に使うんだ？
He goes, but then what are the other classrooms for?
ですって。
Unbelievable, right?
教室に他も何もないでしょ？
I mean, a classroom is a classroom.
なんていうか、そいつは少しでも説明を怠るとそのままで納得しちゃうのよ。
And no matter how vague or unhelpful anything I said was, he just kept nodding.
何も疑問に思わないというか、想像力が欠如してるっていうか、想像することに慣れてないっていうか。
It's like if he's just taking everything at face value. I don't know if he lacks imagination or just never uses it.
まあ、一度言ったことはちゃんと分かってるっぽいから、バカってわけじゃないんだけど。
Anyway, at least he seemed to grasp most of what I told him the first time around, so I suppose he's not a complete idiot.
あなたが人を批評するのは珍しいわね。そういうダメな人、気にするたちだったの？
It's rare to see you so judgmental. Is it really worth getting so worked up over someone like that?
みじんたりとも気にしないわよ。けど、明日からどんな間違いをしでかすのか、ちょっと心配なだけ。
I couldn't care less about him. I'm just worried he'll screw up somehow. What she said what she was really worried about was having to clean up a mess and if and when it happened. That had to be it. If not, it would mean she had no reason why she could not get him out of his head.
とにかく変なやつなの。案外アリスと気が合うかも。
Okay, so figured out some more buttons here. Oh, that's a writing mistake. It's supposed to be her hat. Oops. Well, he was a weirdo, alright. You two would probably hit it off great.
三問以下はいい言葉ね。
Another world in the mountains doesn't sound so bad. But from her eyes it was clear that the question of whether they would get along was irrelevant, given that they would never even meet in the first place. Aoko gave a non-committal response.
ところでアリス、さっきから何を？
Anyway, what have you been reading?
霊的進化論の二次創作。スピリチュアルダイアリのまがいもの。
A book about spiritual evolution based on the spiritual diary.
ああ、スウェーデンボリ。そん
Swedenborg.
なの今更読んでも仕方ないんじゃない？
Ah, Swedenborg, huh? Is it really worth reading again?
新書なら退屈だけど、これは偽書だから。
I wouldn't bother with the original, but this is a knockoff.
彼の欠点と長所を劇的に褒め上げている。よくできた冒険小説のようよ。立ちはだかる秘密組織の名前がカントとか気が利いているわ。
It exaggerates the pros and cons of Swedenborg's style and reads like a well-written adventure. Having the secret organization Kent standing on his way was a nice addition.
筆跡はあなたのおじいさんのものだけど。
The handwriting of the notes in the margin belongs to your grandfather, by the way.
へえ、あの人そういう趣味まであったんだ。割とユーモアがあったのね。惜しい人を亡くしたわ。
Huh, I had no idea he was into that sort of thing. He really had a great sense of humor. We really miss him. I seem nostalgic over a now deceased grandfather.
あなたのおじいさん、夏に頼りをくれたけど。
He just contacted you this last summer, didn't he?
よしてよ、死んだものと考えたいのに。
Do we really have to go there? Why can't the dad stay there? Naoko sighed and laid back on the sofa. The soft cushions caved in under her weight.
話は戻るけど、
As I was saying, Alice shot a glance at Oko. Her body buried in the sofa remained as still as a corpse. It was clear Oko had tuned out of the conversation. Alice silently chastised her with a look. The more she thought about it, the less important the events of the day seemed to become. If she just ignored Alice, the conversation would end there. They would eventually get up and leave today's mistake unresolved for another day. However, that's not the kind of person Oko Ozaki was.
いいわよ。何？
Yeah, what is it? Shell still lying down?
今日できなかったのは少し痛いわね。
It's upsetting that you failed today.
だから反省してるって。学校優先は一人前になってからでしょ。
Like I said, I'm thinking about it. I need to focus on becoming a full-fledged mage before thinking about school, I know that.
ならいいけど、
I hope you do. The coldness in her voice made her recognize her teeth. She knew what Alice wanted to say. She knew better than anyone. The veneer she wore in school was different than the way she lived at home. While it could be called hiding in plain sight, Alice thought it was silly. And what the silence told her was,
覚悟を決めろって言いたいのよね。
make up your mind already, I know. Today's failure was not a colossal one. She just happened to be upset at the delicate balance between her home and her school life, chasing one at the expense of the other. And yet that careless mistake was a clear sign of Oko's lack of commitment.
アリスは関係ない。これは私が私で決めなくちゃいけないこ
This
と。
doesn't concern Alice, this is my decision to make. She had only known for the last year and a half, but she had a hunch for as long as she could remember. Make your choice and the day will come. It was a little wonder that her morals and conscience had been stripped away. Oko pushed herself back up. She was met by Alice's cold beauty and wordless gaze.
オッケー、アリス。来週中に決着をつけよ
Okay, Alice, we can do it next
う。
week.
それでいいんでしょ？
That'll work for you,
ええ、青子がいいなら。
as long as it works for you. Oko couldn't help but shake her head, feeling that she was hearing something similar for the second time today. Even in the comfort of her own, she couldn't banish the thoughts of that country boy from her mind.
じゃあ下準備はよろしくね。私まだできないし。
I'll let you set it up then. That's still beyond my abilities.
場所は例の公園でいい？
Should we do it at the park?
妥当な線ね。あ、でももう一件の方は？
Sure, the line there is suitable enough, but what about the other thing?
そっちの方が急務じゃない？
Isn't that a more urgent concern?
時と場合、森に変化があれば教えるわ。
It depends on the conditions. I'll let you know if there are any changes to the woods. After the brief exchange, Alice returned her attention to the book on her lap. Shop talk was over. Now they could return to a normal relationship as roommates. Oko grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. Since Alice was busy reading, Oko decided to tune into a variety show that had already started. Ah. Alice started to speak but suddenly cut herself off. One of her delicate hands raised to her mouth. She would always cut herself off the second she realized she was about to say something trivial. Sometimes the self-restraint would hit too late and she would make a gesture like the one she was making now. It occurred to Oko that the sound her cute little roommate had just made now was different than the wash she blurted out in times past.
何？
What is it? Oko turned down the volume on the TV, her tense eyes lit up as like one of those of a mischievous cat.
どうということはないん
It's
だけ
nothing
ど。
really, but...
ないんだけど？
But what? Alice looked away bashfully, not knowing she should bring it up or not. It was at times like these that her expression carried a real warmth and surprising charm. No, she's just turned chibi, don't worry about it. If you could see her in this moment, Alice's father would have admitted that her name suited her perfectly.
今日帰ってくるときおかしなものを見て誰かに話そうと思っていたんだけど。
It's just that I saw something strange on my way home and I wanted to tell someone about it. Oko nodded, backing her to continue.
つまらない。本当に意味のないことよ。
It's silly, really.
けど、どう考えてもそんなことをする理由がわからない。
But I just can't make sense of it no matter how much I think about it.
青子。人間ぐらいの大きな猫がひょこひょこ出前をする理由ってわかる？
Oko, do you have any idea why a man-sized cat would be riding around town delivering meals to people? For a second, I thought Alice was trying and feeling miserably to make a joke again. One would think that about anyone, really. But you seemed completely serious. Even if Alice's sense of humor fell flat for Oko, this story already sounded more fanciful than Alice's usual attempted jokes. Marco concluded that her roommate was talking about something she'd actually seen. Like, what do you mean a man-sized cat?
その話には2つぐらい信じがたい部分があるけど、一つずつ論破していい？
There were a few things off about that. Maybe we should break it down.
いいの。私もからくりぐらいは思いつくから。
Well, let's not. Even I can think of a few mundane
ただ
explanations.
理由がわからないから聞いてるの。わざわざ精巧な猫のぬいぐるみを着て出前の転用物を届けに行くことってそんなに簡単かしらね。
Maybe, I'm just asking because I can't figure out why someone would do that. Maybe just as simple as someone just dressing up in a finely crafted cat suit to deliver food for a restaurant.
難易度以前に
Cat delivery
それをやる
service.
人間の常識性を疑うけどね、私は。
I'm more worried about the person doing it than their reasons personally. Alice is not tentatively at her words.
まあ、世の中いろいろあるから。私たちみたいなのもいれば、下界から遮断された山奥で暮らしていたやつまで10人十色よ。
But whatever does it for them, I guess. In a world with people like us and raiders that live like mountain hermits, there's no telling what kind of freaks are out there.
私だったら、見かけたら声かけて理由を尋ねただろうけど。
I personally would have just gone up to them asking what they're doing. Alice's gaze drifted after that.
暮れゆく住宅街にさまよう出前猫か。背景が夕焼けだったらファンタジーだったでしょうに。
Take a shot every time I start talking too soon. A delivery cat riding through neighborhoods in the evening. Sounds like something I've straight out of a fantasy story.
で、今日の夕飯どうする？せっかく話が出たし、私らもてんやものにしようか。
Hey, what should we do for dinner tonight? Speaking of delivery, maybe we should order it. Marco loved getting takeout and her face glowed as soon as she spoke. They had no hot rules for dinner, but if one of them was in the mood to cook, they made a point to make enough for two. At the very worst, this meant entire weeks without dinner, but the very two of them agreed that this was the system that worked best for them. Whether they found cooking to be much more effort or simply liked ordering out. Nights like this was nights like this, one mere common occurrence, much to the chagrin of the restaurants of Misaki Town. Delivering to the mansion meant coming all the way up to the top of this hill, the source for this disgruntlement.
時間は8時前。ギリギリセーフね。私今月がいいな。あそこの月見そば最近ご無沙汰だったし。
It's still before 8, so we're good. I'm really in the mood for kongetsu tonight. I haven't had a tsukimi soba in ages. The hungry student council president laid out a stack of takeout menus like she might find a deck of cards, and excitedly scanned for anything that stood out. Alice casually responded without sparing as much as a glance.
悪いけど私夕飯済んでるの。
Sorry, but I've already had dinner. With those words, Aoko froze. All deliveries required a minimum of 2 items, so she was out of luck without an accomplice. Cruel society had decided it could be bothered to deliver a princess who only ordered a single serving of food. I like how it gets pointed out where it is. Incidentally, to counteract more orders from the Hilltop Mansion to restaurants at the Clad, the minimum number of orders will be 3 starting next year. Aoko and Alice were still in doubt with this fiendish change in direction.
この裏切り者。
Traitor!
だから帰ってくるのが遅かったのね。
Is that why you were late getting
帰
back?
宅部、学校までバス徒歩込みで片道20分のあんたがなんで5時以降に帰ってくんのか考えるべきだったわ。
Between the bus ride and the walk, the trip home only takes 20 minutes. I should have known something was up when you did get home before 5 o'clock. Unfortunately for Aoko, she'd been too out of it to even remember that she was the one falling asleep.
ああ、ひどい女。そういう時は残された一人のためにお土産買ってくるのが暗黙の了解だったのに。
Talk about ice cream. I thought it was clear that if either of us got food, we would bring enough for home for the other person.
私だってこの前の外食の時はアリスの分も買ってきたじゃない。
Didn't I bring back something for you last time when I ate out last time? It was unknown how serious Aoko was being, but she was visibly angry. She had already woken up hungry that morning. From the time she was called into school until now, she'd consumed nothing but tea. It was a small miracle that her stomach was not growling. She knew it was her own fault, but she persisted, wanting to get revenge on Alice for scolding her earlier.
この前ってあれのこと？
By last time, you mean?
あなたが都心に出向いた時、夕食にお寿司を食べてきたのに、お土産はなぜかコンビニエンスストアのビニール袋だったって話？
The time you went to the city and ate sushi but only came back with a plastic bag full of convenience store food? That time? Aoko kicked a hornet's nest.
何よ、買ってこないよりはマシでしょ。
So what? It was better than nothing, wasn't it?
真実は時に隠蔽すべきね。
There are times that you better be off saying nothing at all. Alice's icy glare pierced right through her. I could certainly cross the line by going on about how the sushi circles around the restaurant while Alice ate a convenience store meal. But new things fascinated her, and she couldn't contain her curiosity as the conveyor belt sushi shops that started popping up at the time were nothing but short of miraculous. Even honesty can be a sin, given the right circumstances.
わかった、わかりました。じゃあ今回のは前のと帳消しってことでいいわね。
Fine, I get it. Does this at least mean we're even now? Alice went back to her book without as much recognizing the question. The fact that she did not confirm it made Aoko anxious.
仕方ない。今日は薬日だし、おとなしく台所に立って料理の腕を磨くとしましょう。
Well, today's been a total disaster. I guess I'll just whip something up in the kitchen. She stood up, announcing her intention to no one in particular.
あ、聞き忘れてた。アリス、どこで夕食済ませたの？
Oh, I almost forgot to ask. Where did you end up eating anyway? Alice's hand froze in the current page. She suddenly shut the book as she was reading and she stood up as if at wit's end. It's a sushi shop, isn't it? She walked across the drawing room with a book in her hand. When she reached the door, she stopped and turned towards Aoko.
聞きたい。
You really want to know?
まあ、なんとなく。
Sure. Aoko nodded timidly, cowed by Alice's sudden vigor. Alice continued in a matter-of-fact way.
その猫が余ったメニューをくれたのよ。
The cat gave me one of his leftover deliveries. And with that brief response, she left the room. Alrighty then. Oh, Oh, I guess that means we are at the end of a part here, or a chapter, even if anything. It's been about 2 hours. I'll continue for a bit. Maybe I'll make it to the second time this shows up or not, I don't know. I have no idea how many chapters are going to be in this or how long they are going to be, so...
都会は魔界だ。
The city is really strange,
けど、慣れれば割と住みやすいとは思う。
but a pretty easy place to live once you get the hang of it. City's crowded as all hell, it's no fun. So drew his side listlessly. He looked down at the winter schoolyard below, lost in thought. I'm really going to get hit by a DMC for classical music when I upload this to YouTube, aren't I? December was written on the corner of the chalkboard. He could not believe 10 days had passed since he transferred to school. The last vestiges of autumn had faded with the change of the month. The trees were all but barren and the ground below them a mat of fallen leaves. Fourth period was classics. An elderly teacher stood at the lectern and rambled on. While I had finally gotten used to the classroom, we still had a long way to go to get up to speed in his classes. Lacking even the basic understanding most students learn in their early scholastic life, it was a battle for Soju to keep up. Copy struck from the grave. Even he was unable to grasp all of the content right away, at least tried to memorize everything in the hope that he could make use of it down the road. Which is why losing himself in thoughts about this was the last thing he should have been doing. He wouldn't normally chastise himself for daydreaming, but... Troublingly, I was unable to concentrate on class today. Soju could not place the source of his lack of concentration. It could not have been the winter in the city, it was much milder than in the mountains, neither was his part-time job particularly tiring. He was not any more physically fatigued than the average student, so that could not be it either. Others might conclude that this was because the courses were boring, but that seemed off the mark too. Soju did not share his classmates' opinions about the classes. On the contrary, he rather enjoyed his class time. No, his frame of mind was not to blame either. Trying to figure out what was wrong only made him more depressed.
いけない。こんなんじゃ気が散る一方だ。
What's wrong with me? It's not like me to be so distracted. He scolded himself and turned his attention to the chalkboard. The rhythmic ticks of the chalk was sending him to a slumber, but he somehow managed to resist a lullaby. And yet, he was still unable to focus on the class. Sojiro reflected silently as was his custom, and sighed inwardly. Deep down he knew the real source of his agitation. The events of the previous nights were the only thing it could be. What did he witness? Did he witness the girls doing magic or something? With the chime to signal the end of class, the teacher bowed an exit into the hallway. To see him off, the 30 or so students all stood up from their desks. The clock, which had seemed to slow down dramatically around 11:30, was now struck noon. Temptation seemed to fade from the room all at once. The release from a difficult lesson was the start of a lunchtime highlight of school life. Misaki High's cafeteria was not particularly known for its quality of food. I don't think any school cafeteria is. Come on now. Complaints that the quality was below that of a private school were unheeded. And the same unique flavors appeared on the menu each and every day. Private school prices coupled with subpar quality led to the majority of the students to opt out for boxed lunches instead. Bento time. Sojiro's class 2C was no exception. The boys muscled as many as 10 desks into whatever resembled a long dining table. Conversely, the girls divided themselves into smaller tables of 2 or 3 desks with practice ease, and started chatting within their cliques. Not a single student wasted even a second of the precious lunchtime. Where both sides differed in method, they shared a common goal. Sojiro was struck dumb by the efficiency of the transformation. Even after 10 days, he was unable to keep pace with the rest of the class and remained seated while he had sat during the previous period.
Oi! Kochiko Shizuki!
Hey, Shizuki, over here! The voice came from the large makeshift dining table near the window. Ah yes, this is sporting chapter number 1. Hosaku Kinomi was beckoning him over while leaning back in his chair with a way that looked like he could fall backwards any second. He was regularly shot down by others in the class for being lazy and crass, but his earnest nature kept him from getting on anyone's bad side. Though, something could be said for not being so forthcoming all the time.
飯にしようぜ、飯。
Time's so wasted, let's eat.
俺さ、昨日店の残り物もらいすぎたんだよ。春巻きだよ、春巻き。それを見た親父がさ、もらったもんは残すなってうるさくてさ。
I've got a bunch of leftover
春
spring
巻
rolls.
きしかねえんだわ。
I've got a bunch of leftover spring rolls from yesterday, but when my dad saw them, he told me I shouldn't waste them, so that's the only good thing I've got. It seemed his endgame was to find someone who might take pity on him and trade for something better. The two of them worked at the same restaurant, so he was one of the few people Sojiro knew before starting school. It was also the reason Sojiro was able to learn the true meaning of the phrase, I can't live with him, can't live without him. Like, I see.
お、いいな。しずきも来いよ。今日は待ちに待った缶詰祭りをすっからさ。
Yeah, Shizuki, get your butt over here. It's a long-awaited canned food festival today.
ついに結婚するのかよ。誰か冷静になった方がいいんじゃないのか？実際。
So we're really going through with this? We're absolutely sure we want to do this?
バカ、すげえ楽しいってきっと。そりゃパチモン臭いけど、カニ缶とか食い放題なんだぜ。サバ缶じゃなくて。
You bet your ass we are. Sure, the stuff is processed to hell, but all the canned crap we can eat, there ain't no sardines in the can, dude.
マジ？やったー！俺も参加する。
Can,
コンビーフは一人
tasty.
か？それとも早い者勝ち？
You for real? Then hell yeah, count me in. Is there enough corned beef for anyone? Or is it first come, first served?
お前な、一人で何個も食えるもんじゃねえぞあれ。うまいのは最初の一個だけだって。
That's not something you can eat at all of, you know. Only the first can't taste any good.
しずきたちが来るなら、ノルマは一人7個に下がるのか。助かるな。
But Shizuki on board would be even 7 cans apiece. What a lifesaver.
ところで木の実の弁当の
Canned
中
food
身
for lunch? It's kinda depressing, isn't
缶詰
it?
より硬そうじゃね
So what's up with your lunch, Konomi? It looks harder than cans. The boys usually pass the time making fun of each other's lunches, but today they were united against a common foe. A pyramid of countless cans stood in the middle of the table. They'd all been taken from the pantry of a certain student's house, and the expiration dates on them have all been scribbled on with a marker.
よし、やろうども。各自毎缶切りの用意はいいな。
Alright lads, everyone got your can openers.
食べるも地獄、残すも地獄。我ら5次元目の授業はないものと恐れぬ修羅となり、 鉄の悪魔どもを平らげん。
Eating them sucks, no one likes leftovers, but these metal demons must be slain at all costs, even if it means missing fifth period.
食材は下町の何でも紹介、マーケット中山からの提供です。
Oh, and a special thanks to our sponsors, Downtown McCoy and Nakayama Market.
ヒューバカも休み休みイエーイ
Oh, he sounds happy. Yeah, baby, let's eat. The boys united as one, The boys united as one and hoisted their can openers into the air.
ほら、しずきも食べようぜ。缶切りならまだあるからさ。
Eat up, Shizuki. There's enough can openers that to go around.
いや、君らの弁当の毒味はごめんだって昨日言ったはずだ。
I told you yesterday that I'm not interested in being a taste tester.
それに、その缶詰半分以上、賞味期限切れてるだろう。
And besides, at least half of those cans are past their expiration date. Look, it's canned food. It's probably going to stay fine for the next 100 years. Don't worry about it. Oh, come on, live a little. Quite an inexplainably excited group of guys. The real motivation seemed to be to spread the pain. Ah yes, share the suffering. But moved by their energy and conceding defeat, Sojiro got up from his seat and joined them. And before we could...
じゃあ私たちが釣り上げようかな。
Hey, give it to Rasmus, don't you?
しずきくん、あんなの放っておいて一緒にどう？
Forget them, Shizuki. Come eat with us. Another interested party joined the fray. A girl with short but stylish hair called Artemis. She had also tried to get Sojiro to join the track and field club several days earlier.
いや、そっちも遠慮したいな。できれば。
Thanks for the offer, but I'd rather not. He also did a troubled look on his face. On the table was nothing but a pile of fruit Sojiro had never seen before.
なんで？パパイヤとか嫌い？マンゴーもあるし、ヤシの実だってあるし、内緒だけど、夕張メロンもあるんだから。
What? Why? Don't you like papayas? We've got mango and coconut if you want something else. And don't tell anyone, but we even got a Yubari melon. Members of the fruit group pumped their fists in unison with the last delicacy.
待て、なんだヤシの実って？あれ食えるもんなの？
Wait, coconuts? Can you even eat those?
あ、マンゴー余ったら回してほしいな。
I'd like a mango if you have any extra.
バカ肉食え肉そんなんだから貧弱な体してんだぞお前ら
Idiots! Meat! Meat! Eating anything else is just going to make you weak. Sojiro couldn't keep track of all the voices flying across the room.
わかるのはどっちも破滅的だってことだけだ。
All I know is that nothing good will ever come out of either of these choices. That being said, he found it difficult to refuse them outright. His tendency to accept all his goodwill at face value causing left him frozen with indecision. Not accustomed to regular human interaction, he was unable to judge when or when not was appropriate to turn someone down. Someone tapped the lost little lamp on the shoulder.
ほっとけほっとけ。いちいちここのバカどもに付き合ってちゃ人生台無しだ。適当に流しとけばいいんだよ。
Don't mind Dan. If you get involved with every idiot who invites you to do something, he'll mess up your whole life. It's okay to turn him down, you know.
ほら、お前らもな、善良な羊を悪の園に引きずり込んでんじゃねえよ。
And you guys, stop trying to lead this good soul over to the dark side. An inappropriately loud voice echoed through the classroom from behind him.
副会長。
Vice President. Sojiro turned around to see a boy a head taller than him. His long hair while unkempt had been brushed back, giving it a appealing windswept look. His attractive features belied the contempt for his classroom his eyes carried. Unlike his perpetually dopey-looking Sojiro, he was an extremely attractive boy, capable of captivating anyone who was much glance at him. In most cases, such a boy's presence would be met with awe and respect, however.
なんだよ、副会長様のお出ましかよ。
Oh look, our mighty Vice President has graciously decided to pay us a visit.
てめえらのバカ顔にはコリゴリだって。学食に陣取ってたんじゃなかったのかよ。
I thought you were going to take up residence in the cafeteria, so you wouldn't have to see our stupid faces anymore.
へへへここは見ての通りボンクラどもが集う貧民街でございますよ王子はほら A 組の綺麗どころとカフェでお茶でもしてればいいじゃない
Have you lost your way, Your Highness? You're slumming where the commoners eat gruel from a tross. Shouldn't you be sipping tea with the babes from Class A?
またしずき呼びに来たのかよ青子女子といい飛び丸殿下といいしずきなんかヤバいことしちゃったのか
Why did you leave Shizuki alone, huh? First Lady Aoko has it in for him. Now His Highness too. What could he have done to earn the attention of such royalty?
しずきくんは校則違反しないじゃん。ちょっとそれ以外のルール破るだけで。
Really? But Shizuki's such a goody two-shoes. He's never broken any rules. Well, the rules of the school at least.
ってことはやっぱり築地くん青崎に振られてからそっちに走ったって本当だったのね。
Wait, could it be that Suzuki really switched teams after Aozaki rejected him? They continued to give him a hard time. Soju could not help but feel sorry for him. The class vice president, on the other hand, showed absolutely no reaction whatsoever. He glared at him with a bored look and simply raised his voice.
相変わらず無駄に元気があって結構じゃねえかてめえら。
You freaks should get some new material.
そんなに活力たぎってんなら冬季特別清掃班にだって参加できるよな。
I guess he didn't like being called gay. Why don't you spend your time being more productive for once? Like helping the special winter cleaning team. Yeah, you heard me.
今んところ自主的に申し出てるのは全校で一人しかいねえんだ。西全員が参加すりゃ俺も青崎も肩の荷が下りるってもんなんだがよ。
Only one student in the entire school has signed up so far. Having all of Class C with us would be a huge help, but I guess you want me and Aozaki to do all the work. The menacing growl in his voice contrasted greatly with the boys' well-constructed looks. Both Team Kent Food and Team Fruit. Both Team Kent and Team Fruit's words were doused like a fire being smothered. This was partly due to the fear of the boy, but mostly due to the fear of the special winter cleaning team. Yes, the special winter cleaning team. Joining men spending part of your winter break cleaning up the old school building and the mountainous rear courtyard that had been neglected by the previous two student councils. It was a form of legalized torture that could potentially ruin 3 whole days of your winter break. And forget about any compensation in the form of extra credits. No, it was pointless volunteer work for the student council project. It was practically a miracle that they even found a single volunteer.
いや僕らちょっと体弱いんでスミッチョで缶詰食べてますね。
Sorry, but we're clearly not fit enough. Yeah, that's it. This stuff takes conditioning. We'll just eat our canned food in the corner now, okay?
私たちも貧血気味でこうやって果物食べてないと死んじゃうっていうか冬休みはもう予定いっぱいっていうか
Yeah, us too. We're anemic, you see. And if we don't eat this fruit, we'll die. That, and we already have plans or something. All of the students but once scuffled away.
よし、昼食はやっぱり静かにやらねえとな。
That's much better. Lunchtime is best in silence.
1年坊主の教室より2年の教室の方がやかましいなんて苦情。いい加減
I
にしや
don't
が
know.
れ
I
よ。
think you should eat lunch with people and have fun. I'm tired of people complaining that you guys make even more noise than the freshmen. Get it together, you losers. The mob immediately scurried away. Soju returned to join them, but as he did...
あ、お前はこっちだ、宗次郎。ちょい顔貸せ。
Hold on, Sojiro. Go with me. The hand on his shoulder held him in place.
だよ、生徒会応募。人んちのテーブルマナーまで指図してほしくねえよな。
Jeez, who does the student council think they are anyway? Barging into our classroom to lecture us on table manners. Kinomi Kursman was breathless to his friends and second the vice president to go.
はあ？上等じゃねえか、木の実。いいぜ。お前が記念すべき2人目だ。冬休み、首を洗って待ってやがれ。
What was that, Kinomi? Oh, you want to become our second volunteer? Perfect! I'll make it the best winter vacation you've ever had. The vice president must have heard everything Kinomi said because he gave him thumbs up before figuratively jumping in the eye.
はあ？何言ってんですか、あいつ。
Yo, is this guy for real?
あれ自主的なイベントじゃん。いくら副会長だって強制はできないですよね。
This is voluntarily, isn't it? It ain't voluntary if you force people to do it, am I right? The problem child of Class C laughed merrily.
そりゃ昨日までの話だ。
That was yesterday.
会長の提案が学校側に受理されてな。本日付で生徒会役員は強制力のある推薦権をもらえたんだよ。
The school has since accepted the president's proposal that council members are able to forcibly enlist students for participation.
特に会長と副会長の推薦は絶対だ。拒否した場合、学校側はともかく青崎が何するか俺には止められねえから、そのつもりでな。
And recommendations by the president and vice president are ironclad. Refusing them means breaking school rules in addition to facing Aozaki's wrath, which, let me tell you now, I won't be able to stop.
それ事実上の死刑宣告じゃ。生徒会マジ応募。
What? You're hanging me by the balls here. This is extortion or blackmail or something. Konomi was terrified, shrieking, continuing behind him as the vice president and Sojiro left the classroom. Student council's always fucking up shit.
お前も大変だな、宗十郎。
What am I going to do with you, Sojiro?
あんたも割と暇なんだな、副会長。
With me? Aren't you busy with other things, Vice President? The two entered an empty student council room. Misaki High Student Council had use of two rooms. One was a large office specifically made for the student council. The second was an archive room and was used as a preparatory office for moth courses. As the later of the two, the walls were lined with densely packed shelves, making an already cramped room even seem more confined. For this reason, it served more as a private refugee for the student council. The two students sat across one of another. Tobimaru Tsukiji. He was the son of the chairman of Misaki High School and the vice president of the school council. Like Sojiro was in his second year, and first met with the transfer student a week earlier when the task of looking after him was dumped onto the student council.
副会長はやめろって。クソったれな話だが、俺は所詮会長の犬だからな。
I told you to stop calling that. People might as well call me the president's dog. The shit I have to take care from of her. As self-deprecating as his words were, he hardly seemed dissatisfied with the arrangement. He took a snack from his pocket and grimaced at it before taking a bite. And the 100-calorie energy bar sacrificed flavor for efficiency, but somehow not enough to prevent it from gnawing on it like a piece of jerky.
そうか。でも犬は良くないな、飛び丸。
I see what you're saying, Tobimaru, but being a dog isn't exactly a good thing. Well, I guess some people want to be a cute girl's dog, don't worry about it. Sojiro sat in his corner with a concerned look on his face.
Huh? 犬がどうしたって？
What's wrong with dogs?
犬は良くないって言った。例えが違う気がするし、何より怖いぞ、あれ。
Dogs sound good. I mean, it's a bad comparison in the first place, but dogs are way scarier.
なんだよ。山奥育ちのくせに犬が怖いのか？
You grew up in the mountains and you're still afraid of dogs?
そりゃ大抵の生き物は怖いけど、犬は別格だ。
I'm afraid of most animals, but dogs are in a class of their own.
徒党を組んだ野犬ほど始末に負えないものはない。
A pack of wild dogs is particularly terrifying.
足の速さも脅威だけど、何より執念深すぎる。
They are as tenacious as they are fast.
坂だろうと追いかけてくるし、最後の一匹になるまで引かないんだぞ。
No matter where you run, they'll chase you as long as there's still life left in them. Sojiro opens his lunch as he spoke. Inside the bright green cloth, three beautifully made triangular rice balls. Why are they called rice balls if they're triangle shaped? Would you look at that? Look at what? What do you mean?
いや、そんなこの世のものとは思えない握り飯を見たのは初めてだ。
Oh, nothing. It's just that those are some special looking rice balls you've got there.
それどっちなんだ？
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
褒めてるんだよ、バカ。
I'm trying to compliment you, you idiot. Sojiro was already confounded by phrasing that could be interpreted in multiple ways. Euphemisms and subtle sarcasm was often lost on him. It was only on rare occasions like this one that he chose to confirm what was being said. Tobimaru had come to suspect that Sojiro had a very black and white way of seeing things.
ところで、その固まった小麦粉みたいなの、美味しいのか？
Say, does this hard chunk of flour-looking stuff taste any good? Sojiro started the energy bar with a curious look on his face.
まずくはねえが、うまくもねえよ。
It's not meant to taste good.
まあ、試してみる分には止めねえが。
It's not meant to taste good. You can try it if you want.
人間、何事も手間暇惜しむようになっちゃおしまいだぜ。
People
こ
shouldn't
と
hold
が
back
三
when
大欲求ならなおさらだ。
People shouldn't hold back when it comes to the three-base desires. Tobimaru quickly finished off his bar and put another one on the table and grabbed one of Sojiro's rice balls. Sojiro failed to notice the rudeness of the forced exchange and gave the profit energy bar a try.
なんだか土を食べてるみたいだ。
It kind of tastes like dirt.
違いない。遊びをなくせば人生こんなもんだって見本だな。
Now you get it. It's what a joyless existence tastes like. Out of principle, Sojiro labored over his energy bar, cringing all the while. I'm not really fond of energy bars. He was both curious of the unknown and loath to leaving something unfinished.
今無理に平らげる必要はねえぞ。そいつの利点は携帯食ってところだからな。素で味気ないが、食えるうちは味が落ちないのがいいところだ。
Hey Jeff, we have reached 30 degrees outside. When I woke up, it was a nice and cozy 22 degrees. Why did it go wrong? Don't force yourself to finish it right now. The whole point of it is that you can read it on the run. And while the flavor isn't that great, at least it's consistent.
まあそっちはともかく。どうだ、少しは慣れたか？
Anyway, never mind that. Are you getting used to how things work around here?
ああ、飛び丸や青崎が気を使ってくれているからね。
Yes, you and Ozaki have been a huge help. Tobimaru turns his eyes up to the ceiling, enabled by the Soju's carefree smile. As absent-minded as Soju might have been, his expressions were nonetheless incredibly earnest. It was like posing to someone as self-absorbed as Tobimaru.
だから青崎は来ねえんだよな。
And now I know why Ozaki goes so out of her way to avoid him. She took a bite from the rice bowl to steer herself away from such thoughts. Though no alcohol device had managed to maintain its freshness, startling Tobimaru.
ん？いや待て。気を使ってんのは俺だけじゃねえか。青崎なんてお前が転入した日に彼迷惑だから見張ってての一言だけだぞ。
Huh? Wait a sec. I'm the one who has your back, you know that, right? Ozaki told me you were too annoying to deal with.
なんでそこで君が怒るんだ？
Did I say something to upset you?
いや、だからだな。お前が学校になれるよう陰ながら見守ってんのは俺で、青崎は生徒会室で全校生徒の弱みを集めてるだけって話だ。面倒な苦労してんのは俺だけじゃねえかって。
Don't you get it? I'm the one helping you to keep your head above water. While Ozaki sits in the student council room digging up dirt on other students. I'm the one who gets the limited all the crap jobs while she gets to... Tobimaru stopped himself, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. Soju rightly so knew that there was nothing to get upset over.
まあ、いいさ。青崎に言いつけられなきゃこうなることもなかったしな。
Well, whatever. I'm only here because she told me to be.
知ってるか？あいつ、どうして俺にこんな役させたと思う？
Do you know? Do you know why she stuck me with you?
副会長だからだろ。
Because you're the vice president? Tobimaru sent some face on talk.
あのな、どうして副会長が転入生一人にかかりっきりにならなくちゃいけねえんだよ。
Do you really think it's normal for a student council vice president to waste all of his time on a single transfer student?
いいぜ。機会があったら青崎本人に聞いてみな。あいつの本性がわかるからよ。
Whatever, man. Try asking her directly if you get a chance. You'll learn who she really is. He snatched another bite of the rice bowl while grumbling under his breath. There it was again, rice grains that were just dry enough to be fresh and tender in the mouth. A morsel that betrayed his humble description, which must have been delicately molded by a master chef rather than haphazardly clumped into a ball. Why is he sparkling?
中の具から染み出した玄妙な醤油加減はどうだ？食欲をそそるところか、
into food wars, huh? I see. Just the right amount of salt and a subtlest of soy sauce notes coming from the center. It doesn't just whet your appetite, it stimulates the desired centers of your brain and... oh wow.
飛び丸、思ってることが口に出てるみたいだけど。
Tobimaru, you appear to be thinking out loud.
あ、いや、それほどのショックだったってわけだ。
It's nothing, just call me surprised.
なあ、その字。
Oh, what does he look to
これ
smoke?
具は何だ？
Hey, Sono G, what's this filling anyway? Sono G. It's only natural to inquire about an unexpectedly delicious bite. Had he been nibbling around the edges and not reached its center?
ああ、それはイナゴ。
Oh, that would be a grasshopper.
ありえねえ!
No way. The vice president choked on his cough. He had assumed that Soju preferred earthy ingredients instead of seafood on account of his mountain life, but he never expected he would use grasshoppers.
くそ、食う前に言えよな。信じられねえぐらいうまいと思っちまったじゃねえか。
Do you want to read bugs? No, I think I'll pass. Damn it, you should have warned me first, Sojiro. But man, that was delicious.
ああ、今のは嘘だよ。
Oh, I was just joking. They looked eyes for a moment.
本当は鮭。いくらなんでもイナゴはね。
It's salmon, I would never eat grasshopper.
おお、そうだよな。いや、安心した。いくらなんでもイナゴはねえよな。
Alright, yeah, I knew that. Of course it wouldn't be grasshopper.
ああ、こんな都会で身の締まったイナゴが手に入るもんか。
Yeah, I mean, you can't even find fresh grasshoppers in the city to begin with. As curious as his words were, Tobimaru decided to let him go.
たく、どっちにしても冗談きついぜ。危うく吐き出すところだったじゃねえか。らしくねえぞ、宗十郎。
Gee, Sojo, that's not something to joke about. You want me to hurl or something?
君が青崎の悪口を言うからだ。
Don't say bad things about Aozaki then. What is his face? Sojo closed his eyes and continued to chew on his rice ball. Tobimaro watching incredulously as Sojo made no attempt to hide his disapproval.
おい、今のはさすがに聞き捨てならねえぞ。俺が青崎の悪口を言ったから意種返しをしたと、そういうことか？
Okay, that I can't let go. You really saying you were taking revenge for Aozaki? Sojo continued chewing. The country boy silently protested all that needed to be said. The vice president suddenly looked like he'd been struck by lightning.
なんてこった。お前、まさか青崎に惚れてんのか？
What the? Don't tell me you followed Aozaki.
そうなのか？そうなんだな。おい、眠ってねえで起きろ。
You have, haven't you? Hey, I asked you a question, damn it. Tobimaro flew out of his chest and violently shook Sojimaro by the shoulders. Sojimaro opened his eyes.
そうか。お前は1年前の惨劇を知らないんだな。
I forgot. You don't know what happened a year ago. Oh, did he get rejected?
そんなストレートな破滅願望を持つこともなかったろうに。
Because if you did, you wouldn't be treading down this path of destruction, my friend.
君の言葉には誤解が含まれてるけど、それは後にする。それより、1年前の惨劇って？
You've got me all wrong. You've got it all wrong, but that's okay. Tell me what happened a year ago first. Tobimaro regained his composure and sat down for a moment's thought.
仕方ねえ。この手の噂をするのは好きじゃねえんだけどな。
Okay, I'm not one to gossip, but for you I'm making an exception. Tobimaro reassured himself that it was in Sojo's best interest as a young man to know.
あれは青崎がまだ1年の頃の話だ。
He'd written down when Aozaki was a freshman.
あの頃はみんな入学したばっかりで、青崎がどんな性格か誰も知らなかった。
Everybody was new to high school, so nobody knew what it was going to be, what it was going to be like yet. Her included.
あいつ、外見は文句なしに美人だからな。
She was a total babe. I mean, just look at her.
そりゃ男どもは狂気乱舞したもんさ。
All the guys are crazy for her. Little did they know that soon after they would go crazy for an entirely different reason.
4月5月はもう上を下への大騒ぎだよ。
The first couple of months, the school descended into chaos.
あの時ばかりは上級生も下級生もなかったな。
You gotta remember that early on in the year, no one cared about class hierarchy.
野郎同士の牽制、共闘、果ては決闘まで。まあよくも騒いだもんさ。青崎に近寄るだけでも大変だったんだぜ。
So tons of guys were fighting themselves over her. It was insane. Just getting anyone near Aozaki was next to impossible.
なんでそんなよくわからない事態になるんだ？
I don't understand. Why would it happen? What's the other again, by the way?
青崎は一人きり。命知らずな野郎は延べ100人ほどいたからだよ。
Guys, this is what happens when 100 guys like the same girl, duh.
一人一人青崎とランチしても3ヶ月かかるだろ。
It would have taken Aozaki 3 months just to have lunch with them all individually.
だからまずは男同士でつまんねえ暗闘があったのさ。
So people decided to fight over and got to ask her out.
まあいい。わからねえならそこは飛ばそう。所詮負け犬どもの話だしな。本筋にはなりえねえ。
We're all a bunch of losers if you ask me, but what happened next is the juicy part.
でな、そんなどうでもいい戦いを勝ち残った奴らは列なしで1年の女に言い寄ったわけだ。
Those who emerged from the conflict unscathed made a move.
青崎はあれで、なんていうか、相手のなけなしの誠意じゃなくてあれか、勇気。そういうのを無視できずに認めちまうやつだからな。
And though she might not seem like it, she's the type who likes to put a guy down lightly, you know, because of their sincerity or courage or whatever.
言い寄ってくる相手を可能な限り丁寧に断ってた。
At any rate, she rejected all the comments as politely as she could.
が、中にはそれで勘違いしちまうやつもいたよ。
But there was one guy who couldn't take a hand.
3年のある野郎が、これは脈ありと見て、青崎に何度も言い寄ったんだよ。
He was a third year who just refused to give up.
多分そいつは頭がおかしかったんだ。今にして思うと そうとしか思えん。
Maybe I was a little bit nuts, but it's hard to see it any other way at this point. Incidentally, Tobimaro decided to gloss over the fact that this student was also the former student council president.
学園ばかりか。青崎の家まで押しかけたそうでな。あまりにしつこいんで、青崎も堪忍袋の尾が切れたんだろう。ちょっと口にするのははばかられる方法で振ったんだよ。
But he didn't keep it up only at school. Later he started following her home. That must have been the last straw because Aozaki waked out. She sent him begging in ways I'm not even comfortable repeating out loud.
結果、そいつは自分から他校に転入希望したばかりか、三崎町からも逃げ出しちまって、青崎も1ヶ月ばかり自宅謹慎を食らった。
The conclusion, the student didn't just request a transfer. He ducked tail and left Misaki completely. Aozaki was sentenced to a month of house arrest.
世に言う血の公会堂事件だ。
It came to be known as the Bloody Town Hall Incident.
詳しく知りたけりゃ本人はまずいな。新聞部にでも行け。あそこの部長は命知らずだから、聞けば面白がって教えてくれる。
She could tell you more about it than I can, but I wouldn't recommend asking her. Ask the school newspaper editor instead. She loves a bit of gossip.
飛び丸、その具体的な表現を声に避けてないか。
Tobimaro, I get the feeling you're not telling me everything.
仕方ねえだろ。理事長の息子だろうがなんだろうが、怖いものは怖えし、高校ぐらいは無事卒業しとかねえとな。
Hey, you do the same thing if you were me. I may be the both German son and all, but something scary even me, and I want to graduate in one piece.
うちの女子の制服見るたびに規制を上げるトラウマなんて持ちたくねえよ。
You want me to freak out every time I see a girl in school uniform? So Drew tilted his head to the side of confusion. Tobimaro outlost him with a comment.
まあいい。
And this is why I listen when the girl says no. Yeah. Oh well, whatever.
それより、なんで青崎なんかがいいんだよ、宗次郎。
What is it about Aozaki that you like anyway? He tilted his head again, this time to the other side.
おい、お前、本当に青崎が好きなのか？
Well, are you really that hot for her?
単に胸がドキドキ言ってるだけなら、それは恋じゃなくて恐怖だってオチもあるぜ。いくらその字がぼんやりでも、理由ってもんがあるだろう。
Cause if you hurt pounds in her presence, that could be caused by fear, you know. And you tell me you aren't stupid enough to like her for no good reason. He tilted his head even further. What Tobimaro was saying sounded off, but Soju decided not to press the matter. All the more because he found many of his own emotions toward Aozaki to be incomprehensible.
そうだな、おかしい。俺はあまり彼女を知らないのにね。
It's kind of strange to be honest, I don't even know her that well. It was because they had not truly spoken to each other since the day she showed him around. Every time Soju tried to talk to her, she immediately got up and left. As fate would have it, they ended up working together in that recent Sunday, but it only made idle chatter on the way back.
けど飛び丸、君は知らないだけなんだ。
There's something you don't know either, Tobimaro.
時々なんだが、誰かの視線を感じて振り返ってみると、いつ失敗するかを心配して見ている人がいる。
Sometimes I feel someone's gaze on me, and when I turn around to see who it is, she's there, looking like she's worried about me, that I'll mess up.
飛び丸の言う通り、ただ廊下で俺を見かけて、単に監視していただけなのかもしれない。本当は俺のことなんて気にせず素通りしたいのかもしれない。
I mean, you think she's a maid, you can be happy that the guy only got punched and didn't get turned into an experiment or some shit. I know what you'll say. I know what you say. She's just happy to see me in the hallway and she's keeping an eye on me. Maybe she secretly wishes he could ignore me when we pass each other.
けど、どんな種類であれ、彼女の心配は本物だ。
But whatever the reason, I believe the concern is genuine.
それに、ここが一番大事だと思うんだけど。
And that's the most important about all this.
実際の話、青崎のそういうところのおかげで、俺は助かっていたりするんだ。
I believe that nature of verses helped me out repeatedly. His tone was measured and sincere. Tobimaro sighed with a tinge of regret. If not for those words, he could have introduced Soju to a more suitable girl with whom he could have lived out the rest of his school days in peace. He never went to such lengths for his older friends. Generally speaking, if it was of some benefit to him, he wasn't afraid of exploiting another. If they were of no use, he didn't bother getting involved with them. This was how Tobimaru and Tsuchigi operated. Tsukiji. Soju happened to be the same type of person who helped with no benefit of Tobimaru, yet somehow sparked him a desire to help. It was not that friendship was completely alien to him. He just didn't know that many people that he felt close to. So if Soju had really fallen for Oko, it was not his place as his friend who tried to change his mind.
やれ結局惚れてるやつには理由なんていらねえんだな。
Well, I guess it's true that love knows no reason.
そんなことはない。理由なら一つある。彼女を一目見たときに綺麗だなって思ったぞ。
I wouldn't say there was no reason for it. I can think of one at least. I thought she was beautiful the moment I just first laid eyes on her. Huh? Tobimaru's shoulders slumped.
なんだあんだけ恥ずかしいセリフ言っといて、要は外見に惚れてますな。結局見てくれかよ、宗次郎。
After all that you just like for all looks, listen to yourself, Sojiro.
綺麗なものに見とれるのはいいことじゃないのか？
What's wrong with appreciating beauty?
自分を綺麗に見せる努力をしているんだから、外見から内面を判断するのはそんなおかしな話じゃないと思う。
I don't think there was anything wrong with judging someone by the physical appearance they worked so hard to create. It sounded like a sophism to Tobimaru, but he had no counterpoint to the offer.
しょうがねえ。
No counterpoint to
分
offer.
かったよ。この話はもうやめよう。その字が誰をてめえの女にするか、俺の知ったことじゃねえし。
Alright, I'll get it. I'll let it go. It's none of my business where you go after anyway. No, Tobimaru was mistaken about one major point during this whole conversation. Namely that Soji was not head over heels in love with Aoka and hoped to go steady with her. He merely liked her as a person. Nobody could have foreseen the massive calamity that would be caused by this simple misunderstanding. Oh no.
だがよ、一つだけ忠告しておくぜ、宗次郎。
I've just got one piece of advice for you, Sojiro.
青崎は喧嘩をした相手だろうと別に嫌うわけじゃない。逆に言えば親切にしたって別に好かれるわけでもない。いい例が俺だ。
Just because Awazaki fights with someone doesn't mean she hates them, and just because she's nice to them doesn't mean she likes them. I'm a prime example of that. He spoke with a pained silence of opening old wound from the past.
そうか。
I see.
詳しく。
What happened?
おう、昔な、あいつがあんまりに独善的だったんで、つい手を挙げかけちまったことがある。
Long story short, she used to be really full of herself and I must try to hit her.
半年前の夏だ。1年もあいつと生徒会やってたもんだから、俺も女っつうより戦友って気になっててな。
It happened last summer. I had already been working with her in the student council for a year at that point, and I saw her more like a fellow soldier in the trenches than a girl.
つい勢いで平手打ちをしようと右手を上げた。我ながら4番バッターも角也という腰のひねり。確かな実感とともに、俺は勝利を確信したもんさ。
One day I lost my temper and took a good swing at her. I like to think I got a good mean right hook, and I slugged it pretty good, so I thought I won that round. He had a distant look in his eyes as his words trailed off.
翌日になって、こりゃ完全に敵扱いされたなと覚悟して生徒会室に行ってみりゃ、青崎はいつも通りだった。
The next day when I came to the student council room, I thought she'd be spoiling for a fight, but she was the same as always.
で、以来あいつと俺は会長と副会長で収まってる。
And since then we've simply continued working together as president and vice president. Soju sighed at the story. He then said with absolute confidence.
今の話を総合すると、君は単にのろけたいのか？
So, you just wanted to brag about how close to you two are. Clearly you missed the point entirely.
なわけあるか！今の話のどこに甘酸っぱい要素があんだよ。
Are you kidding me? How in the hell can you come to the conclusion after hearing a story like that?
俺としちゃあいつを女として見なくなった決定的な事件だったんだがね。
Alright then. I'm telling you that from that day forward I could never see her again as a woman.
なんだ、違うのか？
Oh, was I mistaken? A look of disappointment flitted across Soju's face. Tobimaru revised his opinion. Soju was something of a simpleton, but there was also a quality to it that Tobimaru could not quite place.
とにかくだ。俺が言いたいのは、青崎青子の好き嫌いの基準ってのは普通じゃないってことだ。
Just take it from me. The standards are anything but normal.
いいことをすれば好かれる。 気に入らないことをすれば嫌われるってわけじゃねえんだよ、あのお姫様は。
She won't like you for being nice to her, and she won't hate you for being mean to her. That's the kind of princess she is. Soju answered that he would keep it in mind as he looked at the clock. They'd been talking for a while, and lunch was almost over.
もう君からの話はないか？
Is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
あ？初めからねえよ、そんなの。
Huh? I didn't have anything to discuss in the first place. Why did Tobimaro even brought him here in the first place? Soju tilted his head and wondered but shook it off to deal with more pressing matters at hand.
よし。じゃあもう少し付き合ってくれ。飛び丸に聞きたいことがあったんだ。
Could you stay a little longer? There's something I wanted to ask you. Tobimaro sat up straight, never having seen Soju's face look so serious before. Soju set aside his wise bell and cleared his throat.
実は昨日こんなことがあって。
It's about something that happened yesterday. He spoke solemnly, and as carefully as possible he recounted what occurred the night before. I'm going to do the spooky stuff, aren't we? Oh, Myra's there.
しずきくんいる？
Shizuki, you in here? It was time to travel. Lunchtime was quickly coming to an end. Her face popped into Class C as lively as ever. Yeah. As if it were an everyday occurrence. Oko Ozaki announced her presence. While Oko wasn't part of Class C, she didn't let it bother her as she casually entered the classroom. In contrast, the baby birds were so noisily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seats.
どういう意味よそれ？
Are you trying to tell me something? She bristled internally before looking around the room. She could not see the male student she had come here to find. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in a corner somewhere, but it appeared to be not the case.
有里くん、出席番号12番のしずきくんは？
Arisato, do you have any idea where Shizuki from C12 is? Oko kept it tone professional.
俺？しずきならさっき飛び丸殿下が連れて行ったよ。
Wait, me? Shizuki left with His Highness Tobimaro a while ago. The boy was shocked that he actually knew his name. One might think that the reason the students referred to Tobimaro Tsukiji, I keep pronouncing it wrong, by a royal title was because he was the chairman's son, but it was because he was actually acted like a royalty. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title.
飛び丸が？あいつしずきくんと仲いいの？
Oh. He's with Tobimaro? Are those two friends or something? She seemed surprised. The class seemed surprised at her surprise.
いいも悪いも築地くんが男子と仲良く話してるのって今まで見たことなかったよ私たち。
No idea, but we've never seen Tsukichi be that friendly with another boy before.
あ、木の実くんはバカだから別だけど。
Well, maybe Kinomi, but he's an idiot, so that hardly counts.
そうだよな。初めは殿下もあんまり話してなかったけど、3日もしたら楽しそうに口喧嘩してたもんな。
Yeah, His Highness was slow to warm to him, but since the third day, it's been nothing but friendly arguments.
ま、しずき相手に突っ張っても仕方ないじゃん。あいつ変だけどいいやつだし。
Well, you can't really help but like Shizuki. He might be a little odd, but he's good people.
そうよね。いい人だもんね、宗十郎くん。
Totally, Soju is really nice. Having recomposed themselves, Class C started chatting again. Oko listened for a bit before turning around. And leaving class with A later. She's gonna barge in here, isn't she? All the Soju talk finished as quickly as it had started. Lunchtime was coming to a close in the student council room. Soju, having told his story, was smiling in satisfaction. Tobimaro, was still sitting across from him, was frowning. Why did we never get to hear the story?
感想を聞かせてくれ。
So, what do you think? Soju told his yarn as best as he could. Tobimaro fingered his... fingered? Really? As his brow was angry or concerned.
なあ、ソノジ。お前、人をバカにできるほど器用なやつじゃねえよな。
Sonoji, I admit trying to make fun of me. A word of advice, leave it to the smart people, huh?
失礼な。器用な方だぞ俺は。
I take that back, I'm more clever than you think. His response was only confirmed to Tobimaro's suspicion. That'd be one of the two possible conclusions. But that what Soju had just told him was true. Or that Soju was so tired that he must have been hallucinating at the time. Tobimaru sincerely hoped it was the latter.
宗十郎、率直に言って、俺はお前が気に入っている。
To be honest, Sojiro, you're growing on me.
嘘のない人間なんてのは人間じゃね
Anybody that never lies can't really be considered
え。俺
human.
は人間嫌いだからそんなお前さんが気に入ってたりするんだが
So,
そんなやつまで馬鹿げたことを言い出したら俺は明日から何を頼りに昼飯を食えばいいんだ
So for a misanthrope like me, I suppose you could say it's easy to like you. But if you're going to stick to your dumb story, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for you starting lunch tomorrow.
学食で食べればいいんじゃないか
Why not just eat in the cafeteria? Hearing this suggestion, Tobimaru's face darkened.
わかったはっきり言おうそれは幻覚だ
Okay, I'll spell it out for you. You are hallucinating.
幽霊の正体見たり枯れ尾花ってやつだろうさそれでも納得いかないってんならいい精神科を紹介してやる
If you still insist you saw a ghost, I'll be more than happy to introduce you to a good psychiatrist.
それが君の感想かよしならいいんだ
So that you're taking it. Good to know. As bad as Tobimaru's word might have sounded to most, Sojiro swallowed them all.
そりゃ俺だって神隠しの類だと思ったよ
I already figured as much. It sounds like a tall tale to me too.
けど都会じゃもしかしてそれもありなのかもしれないだろ確かめたかったのはそこなんだ
I was starting to wonder if it was normal for that kind of thing to go on in the city, so I wanted to hear your opinion. Satisfied, Sojiro finished off his last rice ball and neatly folded the cloth.
おいすると何か
Hey, hold on a second.
お前は都会の人間は口から火を吹いたり腕が伸びたりするのが普通だと思ったのか
You didn't actually think it was normal for people in the city to breathe fire or extend their arms like they're made of rubber, did you?
まあ普通じゃないけど特別でもないんじゃないかと思ったんだ
Well, not normal. As much as within the realm of possibility.
ここは山にないものが溢れている何でもありの場所だだから
I'm kind of sad we didn't
そ
get
れ
to
ぐ
hear
ら
his
いやっ
story
てのけ
now.
る人だってもしかしているのかなと
The city's full of extraordinary things you don't have up in the mountains, but others might have some extraordinary people as well. And his face was as serious as it was made Tobimaru realize how big of a culture shock Sojiro has been experiencing. Living up in the mountains with no electricity, in a place with a night sky as it always had been, where humans were just one more organism in nature's garden, it makes sense that those conditions would create a boy like him. The idea of children growing up so pure was an appealing one, but maybe it was so natural to forgo civilization when your population was so small. Or perhaps it was so simple a world that excessive knowledge was deemed irrelevant. It was precisely because of city life offered him so much it was impossible up until now to come to the conclusion that anything was possible here.
安心しろ確かにこっちにはタチの悪い奴らばっかりだけどなそんな魔法使いみたいな奴はいねえよ
Relax, this city might have a share of shady guys, but none of them are magicians in disguise. That's why you're wrong.
そうだといいんだけど
No, I hope you're right. But Sojiro seems unsure, and on Tobimaru's part about things in Sojiro's story that he found hard to swallow. Whether true or not, the incident Sojiro had described was disturbing.
まあ事の真偽というかどんな間違いでそう見えたかは置いておいてだ
For the time being, let's assume what you say actually happened.
結果だけ見ればうちの生徒が夜の公園で人を殺したってことになるしかも双方控えめに表現しても普通じゃねえ
It would ultimately mean that one of our school students killed someone in the park last night, and that neither of the parties involved were normal. As a newcomer to the town, Sojiro assumed that everyone his age was a student at the school. For better or worse, he was right.
一人は火炎放射器を持ってもう一人はまあなんだなぎなたでも持ち出したのか刃物らしきものが何メートルも伸びたときた
One of them was equipped with a flamethrower, while another had a naginata, or at least a bladed weapon resembling one a good few feet in length. Sojiro bobbed his head up and down as he listened to disbelief to Tobimaru's voice. Hearing it repeatedly by someone else, he could see how someone might think he was taking him for a ride.
正気を疑うな尋常じゃないぞその話
Look, I'm not crazy. It really did happen, like I said.
宗十郎お前実は俺をからかってんだろ
Give it to me straight, Sojiro. You're pulling my leg, aren't you?
いや全く
No, I'm not.
けどまあ都会にはそんな人間はいないんだろ
But I get it. There's no one in the city who can do that, right?
なら飛び丸の言う通り夢でも見てたんだここのところアルバイトと試験が重なって辛くて
If not, I was probably just hallucinating, like I said. Working part-time while studying for exams has been pretty tiring. Or pretty trying. Oops. Winter break was just around the corner and the end of exams were but a week away. Both were proving formidable opponents for Sojiro.
俺は基本ができてないから人の倍程度の勉強じゃ追いつけない。ほら、勉強ばかりしているとノイローゼをするんだろう。
I don't even know the basics, so you need to study twice as hard as everyone else. I mean, anyone who could start to lose it if they did nothing but study, right?
そりゃするんじゃなくてなるものだが、まあ何にせよやりすぎ飲みすぎはよくねえわな。試験前ぐらいはバイト減らしたらどうだ？
I wouldn't say you're losing it, but you're definitely pushing yourself too hard. Maybe cut back on the work a bit until the exams are over.
減らしてはいるんだけどね。年末ってアルバイトを休む人も多くて、その代行も頼まれがちだし。
I've tried to cut back, but a lot of people take off at the end of the year, so they often ask me to fill in for the shifts. He shrugged helplessly. It was obvious from his words that he has been busy. He also sounds like a guy that would take up everyone's work if they asked him to. Even if he was not going to go crazy, lack of sleep could have caused him to daydream, even if all this did is go down, even if this did all go down in the middle of the night.
なんだか大変そうだな、宗十郎。
Sounds tough, Sojiro.
ああ、実はかなり参ってる。
Yeah, city life isn't exhausting. Sojiro nodded with a pained look on his face. Not just strange, however, that he did not look the least bit tired. Still wondering why he's wrapped in bandages around his neck.
のは感心するけどな。お前、新郎は顔に出ないたちか？
I'm impressed you never complain about it. You always look like nothing bothers you at all.
そりゃ、新郎はどこも痛まないからね。
That's just because it isn't bad enough to bother me. As he answered, Sojiro looked up at the clock on the wall. Lunchtime was almost over.
飛び丸、時間だ。
Tomorrow, the time.
ああ、もうそんなに経ったか。気にせず先に行ってていいぜ。俺はまだ用があるからよ。
Really? It's that late already? You can go on ahead, I still have things to do. Sojiro watched his Tobimaro made a gesture that seemed to lament his life of a student council member. His eyes looked as if they were looking at a piece of art and not understanding its value.
授業をサボれる身分っていうのは羨ましいな。
I'm jealous that you can just skip class whenever you want.
そういうの、飛び丸が嫌いな手抜きじゃないのか？
I would have thought you were a stickler for the rules.
そりゃ誤解も甚だしい。俺の欠席は手抜きじゃねえ。特権ってやつだと言ったろ。
How many times do I have to tell you? It's not skipping when I got special permission. The vice president angrily defended himself as he stood up. The transfer student merely gazed at him and faced.
おいおい、あれだけ説明したのに全然分かってなかったのか？
Hey, you're not honestly implying that you still don't understand after all that, are you?
しょうがねえ。まず座れ。いいか、その字。
Oh well, just sit down and listen, Sonoji.
常人を上回る英気と幸運を兼ね備えながら、座することなく精進してきた俺でも、ここを卒業しちまえば裸一貫になっちまうんだぞ。
I was granted talent and luck beyond that of most people, but I always put work in. But once I leave here, I'm on my own now. Do you get it?
ひでえ話だ。
I'm sick of explaining this to people.
てめえの家柄を活用できんのはあと1年ちょいだけなんだぜ。
My
これ
family
の一体
stated.
どこが羨ましいってんだ。
My family status will only keep me afloat for one more year. What about it? Could you possibly envy?
普通一生続くはずの親の七光ってやつが、俺の場合はたった3年間しかねえんだからな。
Most people can live off privilege for their entire lives, but the best I get is 3 measly years.
と
I mean,
な
at
り
least
ゃ
you get a good 3 years.
有効なうちに使っておかなきゃもったいなくておちおち眠ってもいられね
So I have to take advantage of what I have while I
え。
have it.
ああ、嫌だ嫌だ。何が嫌かってバカどもとガン首並べて金勘定するのが嫌だ。たく嫉妬渦巻く大人の世界じゃ俺のオブラートみたいな心なんてパックリ飲まれて溶けちまうこと受け合いだろうさ。
Just the thought of having to cut beans like the rest of the idiots out gets me livid. The adult world is going to kill me. The envy alone will be enough to destroy my fragile heart. Well, he must have been joking, Sojiro took his tone completely sincere. He listened as he have envy Tobimaru's ability to be so open about his feelings. From his frame of reference, there was nothing he could do but take Tobimaru for his worth. When...
あら、そんな権利なんて留年すればいくらでも引き伸ばせるのに。なんなら協力してあげましょうか。この私でよろしければ。
If you're looking to extend your privileges, why not stay in school? I'd be more than happy to arrange that for you. The door of the student council room flew open, washing away Sojiro's half-hearted response to his friend. His frosty statement destroyed the warm atmosphere of the room, and it also marked the abrupt end of Tobimaru Tsukichi's reign there.
いや、いい。自分の夢は自分の力だけで叶えようと常々思ってるんだ。
No, I just meant that our dreams are something we have to take hold of ourselves.
そうなら今みたいな恥ずかしいこと力説しないでね。廊下にまで聞こえてたわよ、副会長さん。
Really? Am I not spent more dumb on dead in this pathetic display? I could hear you all the way down from the hallway, Mr. Vice President. Not missing a beat, Aoko Ozaki stepped inside the room. Her dark hair was slightly disheveled as she'd been running. Her gaze missed the sitting Sergio entirely and was focused completely on the ranting Vice President.
頑張れ、飛び丸。
Good luck, Tobimaru. Sergio quietly called up him at the back of his classroom. That's gold, man. Tobimaru grumbled in front of Aoko.
だって時間がない。
But it's almost time for class.
だから、そういうのが白状とだな。
You're just proving my point, yo. He cut himself off. Aoko briefly shifted her gaze to Sojiro.
時間がないのは私も同じよ。あなたにはいつも振り回される。
It's not like I have time for this either, you know. It feels like I'm always having to clean up after you. Not a complaint, it was her honest opinion.
なんだ要件は宗十郎かよ。
Wait, you here for Sojiro?
安心なさい。あなたにもあるから。
Oh, don't worry, I'll deal with you next. Her eyes shimmered with a murderous glee. It was slightly different from the more sullen gaze to which Tobimaru had grown accustomed. For whatever reason, Aoko's mood seemed worse than usual.
しずきくん、あなた、走るのと泳ぐの、どっちが好き？
Shizuki, which do you prefer, running or swimming? Aoko asked abruptly. Sojiro frowned a little before saying he was fine with either one.
ダメよ。一つに
That
して。
won't do. Pick one.
泳ぐ方かな。けどどうして？
Swimming, I guess. Why do you
あ
ask?
なたがまだどこの部にも所属してないから。
Because you still haven't joined the club. A succinct reply. Myna left no room for Sojiro to object.
うちの校則読んだわよね。生徒はただ一人の例外もなく、部活動に参加しなくてはならない。
We didn't have to apply to a club. You've read the school regulations. All students must participate in club
正
activities.
直どうかと思う校則だけど、決まりは決まりだから。
I'm not the biggest fan of it myself, to be honest, but a rule is a rule.
そんな無茶な。悪いけどそこまでの暇はないんだ。
That's crazy. How could I possibly find the time for that?
でしょうね。
How indeed. And equally terse response. She was typically to the point, but Tobimaru got the impression she was trying to keep her interaction with Sojiro short. They stared at each other in silence. Tobimaru stood breathlessly silent on the silence until Sojiro broke the impasse.
青崎は分かってると思ってた。
I thought you of all people would understand Aozaki.
あ、いや違う。
I mean, of course you do.
うん。だからそこが強いんだろうね。
That's what makes you strong. Sojiro stood up from his seat. He walked past Aoko and into the
そ
hallway.
れ明日からでいいんだろ？
And do you mind if I start tomorrow?
しずきくんがいいならね。
Whatever works for you, Shizuki. I keep saying it as she, but it's she. He did his best to force a smile before leaving the student council room. While watching the events play out, Tobimaru found himself deeply impressed with Sojiro. You could tell from Aoko's behavior that he was trying to get a rise out of Sojiro. Sojiro, on the other hand, didn't react. Heedless of what Aoko was doing, he simply went on his way. To Tobimaru, it was hard to believe that Sojiro had not taken offense. From his point of view, Sojiro's poker face had been the performance of a lifetime.
いや、でも何が強いんだろうな、会長。
The kid has some balls, huh, President? He looked at Aoko curiously. The face. Aoko stood completely still, staring at the wall.
Aozaki?
Hey, Aozaki. Aoko showed no response.
おい、会長。青崎。青子女子。おい、聞いてんのかよ、青崎青子。
Yo, President. After Aozaki, come in, come in. Lady Aoko? I'm talking to you, Aoko Aozaki.
さいはね、青を呼ぶな。
Enough with the ow 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 already, God! The fury echoed across the student council room. It was a beautiful sound that could be heard in the hallway and made Tobimaru's rant from earlier pale in comparison.
やかましい。うるせえのはてめえも同じだ。
Look who's talking, Miss Megaphone. Perhaps the shouting was still ringing in his ears, or it was just a type to answer a shout with a shout, but he shot back reflective.
そんなんだから男の一人もできねえんだよ、お前は。ほら、目覚めたか？
No wonder you can't get a boyfriend. Do you have our attention now? That's gonna
別
kill
に
you.
あなたの声は聞こえてた。煩わしかったから無視してただけよ。黙らせるの面倒だし。
I could hear you before. I was just ignoring you because you were annoying me, and I thought it would be easier getting you to shut up.
てめえな、俺はカカなんかか、おい。
You've got some nerve. Am I a mosquito to you?
コミュニケーションが成立しない点で言えば、あっちのがまだ上品よね。
A mosquito would offer better company, so no.
ほう、その心は？
What exactly is that supposed to mean?
お互い何を言ってるかわからない。意味のない会話なら、音声みたいなものでしょ？
We never see eye to eye. Talking to you is like going on a date. Both pointless activities. Based on that statement, Orgo must have been under the assumption that dating was the act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other.
問題は、お前にとって意味のある会話ってのがどの程度の価値かってことだが、まあいいか。
The real question is what the hell qualifies as company to you, but whatever.
いつになくきついじゃねえか、青崎。
You're awfully harsh today, Aozaki.
ちょっとね。今愛嬌を振りまける状況じゃないのよ。
Maybe a little. This isn't exactly the time to make nice.
不思議だ。この2年間で青崎の愛嬌なんてものは見たことがないんだが。
Funny you mentioned that. I haven't seen you try to be civil at all in the last 2 years.
飛び丸のいない時に振りまいてたの。
Oh, I'm always civil. Just not when you are in the same room.
そうかよ。やっぱりあの時のこと恨んでるんだろう。生徒会長さんはよ。
So that's how it is. You're still upset with me for what happened, aren't you? There's only one thing that Toby could be talking about. The incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer.
え？ずいぶんと昔の話じゃないそれ。
Huh? Is it an ancient history at this point?
そんなどうでもいいことに容量を使っちゃもったいないわよ。ただでさえ脳の覚醒部分が少ないのに。
Don't you think you should stop wasting brain power on this? I mean, we've got so few brain cells to work with as is. As the conversation wore on, Naoko's murderous hour began to fade, and the sharp gaze gave way to a comment in a rarely seen from her. It was quite possible that nobody besides Tobimaro had ever seen this side of her at school before.
ご忠告どうも。俺だってあんなことは忘れてよ。
Thanks for the concern, Syke. And for the record, it's not like I want to relive it either.
ただ、さっきその字がバカなこと言いやがるから、つい思い出しちまったんだよ。くそ、考えてみりゃ場所まで一緒じゃねえか。
It's just Mitsunochi was being edited earlier. It kind of reminded me of how it went down. Come to think of it, this is the room it happened in. Despite his ranting, his face betrayed a touch of nostalgia. Naoko, on the other hand, was scowling.
ちょっと待って。
Hold on.
あの話、彼にしたの？
You didn't tell him about what happened, did you?
ああ、俺がてめえになんで会長になんか立候補したのよ。あんたは副会長って顔でしょ、どう見ても。なんて挑発されて生涯最高の月をしたところまでな。
Sure did. At least how you mocked my candidacy for president and told me my face had sidekick written all over it, and the part where I took the bait and tried to damnedest to punch you for it. Naoko let out a sigh as if relieved that Tobimaro had not told Soju the rest of the story. She wasn't even sure why.
あれは確かにびっくりするぐらいいい月だった。思わず体が反応しちゃったもんね。
I'll admit it was quite a punch though. It was enough to make me react on reflex.
ところで、私そんなこと言ったっけ？
Did I really say that, by the way?
言った。しかも俺が保健室に運ばれたのをこれ幸いと強引に副会長にしやがった。
You sure did. And not only that, after I was taken to the infirmary, he had the balls to tell me that he did me a favor by forcing me to be the number 2. Since that day, Tobimaro had served as a vice president to the person who usurped the role from him.
いいけどな。俺に会長職は合わねえって分かったし、副会長の方が性に合ってやがる。会長なんてやってたら、危うく親父みたいな野郎になってただろうしよ。
I'd like you to pay attention to that book icon, like it's flipping the page in the wrong way for us. It's flipping it, and how you read a manga. Actually kind of funny that they didn't bother changing that. It's fine though. The president's chair doesn't suit me anyway. I feel much more at home as a vice president. Your job would have probably turned me into my dad.
プライド高い分、できることは全部やるからね、飛び丸は。
Your pride's never allowed you to give you anything less than your best.
ま、会長職に先進するあまり、気がついたら優等生になってたあんたも見たかったけど。
You might be a little too comfortable in the student council though. Makes me wonder how you would have looked as an honor student.
やめてくれ、ゾッとしね。
Don't even go there. Even thinking about it gives me the creeps.
猫かぶるのはお前だけで十分だ。
Having one wolves in sheep clothing around here is bad enough. Tobimaro shooed Oko away like an annoying pest. It was a typical example of recruit verbal abuse exchanged on a daily basis, with a witness that only two long-time folks could manage.
で、
So
なんでそんな話したのよ。
So why did you tell him?
は？
Tell who what?
半年前のここの事件を。
Why did you tell him what happened between you and me?
ああ、そっちか。いや、あいつがバカなこと口走ったからなんだが。
Oh, Dad, I was just trying to put a stop to the nonsense he was spewing at. And he stopped himself before I said anything more. He knew better than to let slip the fact that Soju had a thing for Arko. Everyone knew guys didn't sell each other out like that, even if it was all in the truth of a misunderstanding.
それより、さっきのはないんじゃねえのか、青崎。
Anyway, what the hell was that before, Aozaki?
お前、宗十郎に恨みでもあんの？
There's some grudge you've got against Sojuro.
7日以上前の恨みを引きずるほど、私はお姫様じゃないつもりだけど。
Oh no. I'm not some princess who goes around holding grudges for something that happened over a week ago, you know. He wanted to retort that she was more like a queen than a princess. But he'd come to know her too well over the past 2 years to dig himself into a hole like that.
恨みはないね。それにしちゃ、恋に喧嘩売ってただろ。なんでだ？
Okay, so why did you pick a fight with him?
確かに調子の狂うやつだが、あいつほどいいやつはいねえだろうに。
I mean, he does throw you off when you talk to him, but there's not an evil bone in his body.
おい待て。なんだその足元のシロアリを見るかのような態度は。
His expressions are great. Whoa, why are you looking at me like you just stepped into a turd?
別にあんたまでそのセリフを言うのかって心底から見避け果てただけよ。
Oh, no big reason. Hearing you say that, I was just thinking that I've never met such a despicable person in my life.
まあ、いっか。いいやつ、いい人。
Oh yeah, she did get put in
結
there,
構じゃ
didn't
ない？
she?
喧嘩を売る相手としちゃ上等だわ。誰も憎んであげないなら、私ぐらいそうしないとね。
Well, whatever. So he's a good guy. It makes him a perfect person to pick a fight with. If nobody else will do it, then the job falls to me, right? She said casually, having regained her composure.
しないとねって、お前。
You just can't help yourself, huh? Tobimaro could not follow her reasoning at all. Tobimaro was used to Argo's erratic trains of thoughts, but hating Sojiro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel. His friend's naive and innocent face came to mind, and then he blurted.
けど、宗十郎は青崎が好きなんだぜ。それでも嫌いなのか？
Uh-oh. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. But Soju's taken a shine to you, Awazaki. How can you hate him knowing that? His vow of silence lasted not even 2 minutes.
いや、今のはな、青崎。
Oh, what I meant was... He tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All he could hope for now is that she would take it well.
そりゃそうでしょ。好き嫌いは誰にもあるし。
Because I like what I like and dislike what I don't like.
けどこればかりはね。彼が私と仲良くしたいって言っても、私は嫌いなんだから仕方ない。
Little first hour stuff, Mayu. Just because he wants to be friends doesn't mean I have to be suddenly like him. Stone Cold Oko. Tobimaro found himself filled with imagination on how attached Oko was being. I mean, you've missed some classic music that might or might not get me copyrighted. So, that might be funny.
いや、そんなお友達感覚の話じゃなくてだな。
Don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship.
そういう好き嫌いじゃなくて、その字は本気でお前に惚れてるって言ったんだよ。
Wow, you're really just making it worse for him now, aren't you? And I didn't mean he only likes you either. Believe me when I say that Sonoji really has a thing for you. He shouted, his face the embodiment of sincerity. Aoki gave him a blank stare. Black and white. It was the face of someone who lost their wallet hours earlier and was now just realizing it. The first instant of doubt that ushers in the reality of the situation. But an instant is all it was.
で
So what? She answered coolly, as if she had no idea why it would matter to her at all.
出ときたか。鬼でもなけりゃ悪魔だな。お前って女は。よかろう。聞こえなかったのならもう一度言ってやる。
So what? You were born in hell? I'll assume you didn't hear me. I'll say it again. Sojiro, Tobimaro gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard.
いいわよそんなの。つまらないもの。
I don't bother. I couldn't care less. She ruthlessly cut him off. Thinking of the boys who still harbored unrequited love for Aoko, Tobimaro tried hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him.
なるほどね。それでさっきの話に結びつくわけだ。
Now I see. So that's why I told him about that little incident.
へえ。柄にもなく友達思いじゃない殿下。
Oh dear, that's smug. Now who could have thought his highness would have been so considerate to his friends?
ってことは、聞くも無残、語るも無情っていう私の噂話、教えてあげたんでしょ
I bet you also told him all the nasty rumors floating about me too, huh? She laughed as fiendishly as a fiendish smile on her face. Tobimaro repented to God, wherever he or she might be, for ever bringing up Aoko's love life.
飛び丸にしちゃ正しい判断ね。褒めてあげるから、どんな話をしたのか聞きたいな、私。
You did the right thing, Tobimaro. Now be a good little vice president to tell me every single little thing you told him. She was smiling, but Tobimaro wished at least tried to hide the plot list.
代表作とここでの事件を2つばかり。
Just two things, really. The story the most infamous for and what happened in this room. Hello there. Aoko nodded with satisfaction as she listened to Tobimaro's insistent answer.
こういう時、噂話って便利よね。うるさいのを追っ払ってくれるから。でも、そんな話を考えなしで広めたら大変だから、これからは気をつけてね。
Rumors like those can come in handy sometimes. You can use them to chase off annoying people. Just be careful about who you tell, okay? And there's been in writing the chillingly sweet tone of her words could have been signed with her heart. Whether angry or happy, Aozaki spoke in a disturbingly cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tobimaro took note of this new discovery rather than did nothing to get them out of this situation.
ああ、俺も命は惜しいからな。口はもう滑らねえよ。
Oh, don't worry. I value my life, so I'll shut my mouth.
けど、青崎、本気で宗十郎が嫌いなのか
But Aozaki, do you really hate Sojiro that much? He knew that it was a topic we'd be better off avoiding, but he tried asking anyway. The bonds between men at times shine more beautifully than the pearl.
まあ、好きじゃないから嫌いっていうわけじゃないけど、私が彼のことを嫌う理由は自分でもわからない。
Well, I might not like him, but it doesn't mean I hate him. I'm not even sure why I feel the way I do.
だからダメなのね、きっと。
Which is probably the problem. Perhaps to placate Tobimaro, Aoko paused in contemplation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant that not even he could complain.
そうか。まあ、そういうことならしょうがねえか。
Huh, I guess that makes sense.
何しろ、綺麗さっぱり感情論だ。お互い理由もなく好きと嫌いじゃ手を貸す隙間もねえわけだし。
As much as emotional arguments can make sense, there's nothing I can do if neither of you understand why you feel the way you do. Thinking that way would be the end of it, Tobimaro looked up toward the ceiling and silently apologized to Sojiro. However, his final sentence appeared to have piqued Aoko's interest.
待って。今の、どういう意味
Wait, what do you mean by that? Her far chair has vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tobimaro answered nonchalantly.
いや、あいつもさ、青崎に惚れた理由がわからないなんて言いやがってよ。ああ、違ったか。理由なんてないなんて意味だったかな。
Oh, nothing. It's just that Sojiro also said he wasn't exactly sure why he liked you. Or, more like, there was no particular reason for how he felt, I think. Foe? Oh, it's like that one. I will be uploading the vault later, yeah. Also, take care of that. Like these words with X's in them always confuse me to a certain degree. Tobimaro still in disbelief that Sojiro had been charmed by Aoko's appearance, so he purposely left that part out.
理由はない。
I should have known though because I've heard that book before. He said he likes me for no reason.
ああ、なんで俺がいくらお前の噂話をしても無駄だった。天津さえなんて言ってたかな。あ、そうそう。理由はどうあれ、青崎の心配は本物なんだとか、自分はそれで助かってるとか、俺なんかには言えないセリフだったのは確かだね。どうにも。
Yeah, I mean, I even told him about the rumors around you, and it had no effect on him whatsoever. What did he say again? All right, he was going on about how genuine your concern for him was, and how it really helped him. It was almost too much for me to repeat out loud.
はっきりしてんのは他の野郎どもと違って、噂を聞いても手を引く素振りなんざみじんもなかったってことだけ。
Well, I can say that, unlike the other boys, the rumors didn't faze him in the least. Tobimari finally noticed a shift in Argo's Deminar. She was scowling at the wall. She glided in silence and it was like a worst enemy, and this continued for several minutes. So when did the murder start? Oh, not quite yet. Look, everything is probably going to take a nice slow pace for 15 minutes, and then the last 10 hours of this are going to be absolute insane murder, whatever. Usually how these good things go. What the hell was that? Why can't I shake the feeling that I've heard of this somewhere before? So great was the riot that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. The irritation seeded until it reached the point that Oko forgot Tobimaru was even in the room. Tobimaru looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he brought a further calamity down upon Sojiro's head.
少しわかったわ。なんであいつが気に食わないのか。
I kind of get it now. I think now I know I don't like him. Tobimaru looked at us and indicated he'd rather not know, but Oko ignored him and began to grumble venomously.
あいつ、私が嫌いなやつと言動が似てるのよ。
The way he acts and talks reminds me of someone I despise.
誰彼構わずいい人扱いされるところとか、妙にふわふわしてるところとか、いちいち私の勘に触るところとか。
Like if everyone thinks he's an angel and now nothing seems to bother him, maybe it's how good he is at getting on my nerves. It's his face again. Glancing idly at the clock, Tobimaru thought it was the last part just sounded like misplaced anger. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone.
わかった。もういい。この話をした俺が悪かった。
Fine, I got it. Sorry I said anything.
で、俺に用ってのはなんだよ。言っとくけど、もう授業始まってるぜ。
So, did you need me for anything? Class has already started, you know.
え？授業って、なんで？
What do you mean by class? When did it?
いや、さっきその字が出てってから、青崎がギラーンって壁に睨んでた時にチャイムが鳴ったんだよ。いいのか、生徒会長。5次元目ばっくれて。
The bell rang right after Sonoji left, or at the time you were busy being pissed at the wall. Tell me, Miss President, are you allowed to miss 5th period?
いいわけないでしょ！なんで黙ってんのよ、あんたは！
Of course I'm not. Why didn't you say anything? Say something. She looked like she was on the verge of tears as she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Tobimaru raised his hands in a mock surrender, a gesture reserved only for the true victor.
蚊の方がエレガントなんて言いやがった仕返しだ。思い知るがいい。男の純情を踏みにじったり焼き殺したりするエリート悪魔め。
Consider this revenge for saying I was worse than a mosquito. Hopefully you've learned your lesson, O hellish woman who feasts upon the hearts of men.
相変わらず細かく根に持つ男。言動には言動で返しなさいよね、卑怯者。
You're so petty, you know that. You're supposed to repay insults with insults, you coward. She tightened his necktie around his neck with a yank. Chat, the only reason we're seeing their legs is because they didn't bother drawing extra sprites to actually draw the scene out. Don't worry about it. The Vice President smiled a Turkish grin as her reaction made his victory that much sweeter.
お前の古典が破滅に向かっているのは周知の事実。そして A 組の5次元目は言うまでもない。藤代のばあさん。青崎のこと嫌ってるしな。
It's no secret you're heading to remedial classics, and you don't have to tell you who teaches Class A during 5th period. All but Fujishiro is going to have your hat. Fujishiro had one of the longest tenures at the school, so it was only natural she would be in charge of teaching the classics.
さあ、 こんなところで俺のネクタイを引っ張る余裕があるのなら急いで自分の教室に立ち返るがいい。
This is where you stop yanking my tie and all you answer your classroom.
情けだ。別に止めはしねえよ。
I won't even try to stop you. Am I not merciful? These expressions keep getting better and better. Damn it all! I can't believe you of all people pulled one over on me. Just die already. She choked him even harder with his necktie. As Oka put the boat into action and mercilessly strangled Tobimaru, he saw his life flash before his eyes. Oh shit, he's dead. Now that you asked when the murders were starting to happen, well, there you go. Wait, stop, I'm gonna die. It isn't too late. You want him to mark her absent? Oka glanced up at the clock. It was still only 1:07 and arrived from the student council room on the second floor to Class A room on the third floor. Whoa. Excuse me? It was still only 1:07. The road was from the student council room on the second floor to the Class A classroom. Class A classroom, don't you do that to me. On the third floor. If she ran, she could make it.
命拾ったわね、飛び丸。
I'll let you live, Tobimaru. This time. Oka clicked her tongue disappointedly. What disturbed Tobimaru didn't sound like an empty threat.
あと放課後、ここにいて。頼みたいことがあるのは本当なんだから。
Be here after school. I actually do have something I need you to do. She was all out of the room before she even finished the sentence. Finally all alone, Tobimaru closed the open door, locked it, and slumped into a chair.
たく。ああしてる分には楽しいやつなんだけどよ。青崎は。
Never a dull moment with Aozaki around, that's for sure. He leaned back into the creaking folding chair and let out a sigh. The weather outside was beautiful, but the sunlight waned early in the winter. Before long, daylight would faint and the unheated student council room would go colder and colder. All of the good equipment, like the heater, had ended up in the main office, so I had no choice but to settle in a chilly afternoon.
こんな天気が続けばいいんだがね。天気予報じゃまた雲行き怪しいって話だが。
If only this weather would last, shame the forecast predicted more clouds. After his somewhat suggestive monologue, Tobimaru's mind drifted. He only wondered to himself whether Soju was an overcast day or a clear day sort of guy, but no answers came. Should probably wrap it up soon too. School day is over and Soju headed straight to his job. While the school had approved his job at the Chinese restaurant in his fish market in Misaki shopping district, there was other work he hadn't mentioned to them. And it was not because he knew they would complain about him working too many, but rather because of the illicit nature of one job in particular. Excuse me, where the fuck are you working? Today's workplace was a pachinko parlor in front of Yashirogi Station. Pachinko, huh? Soju had changed his outfit to a school uniform into a black fog tuxedo uniform and began cleaning the storefront. Murder incoming? I don't know. Yashirogi was the jewel of Misaki City, a bustling place with a vast assortment of commercial stands and shopping arcades. Where there were people in masks and there were products made in masks. A romantic might describe it as a place of joy. A realist would note a free enterprise. And a cynic would point to all the garbage. Local authorities had attempted to beautify Yashirogi, but there was one basic tenet of society they could not overcome. The establishment was the embodiment of the drill. Business such as this attracted the drugs of society, and such, the front of the parlor had to be cleaned several times a day. Soju stood outside in the winter cold, sweeping up used-up cigarette butts, picking up discarded flyers and tossing empty cans into the trash. Something about it must have reminded him of Myna life, because he was cheerfully finished the job at ease. After making sure the storefront was acceptably clean, he returned to the inside of the parlor, which was nice and warm. Blinding lights, deafening sounds, and the oppressive odor of tobacco assaulted him as he passed through the parlor on the way to the office.
店長、外回りの掃除終わりました。
Boss, I finished cleaning outside.
はい、ご苦労様。それでいいかな。2階の40番台のお客さんの様子見てきてくれない？
Good job. I've got something else for you. Could you go check on the customer on machine 40 on the second floor for me?
どうも懐に飲んでそうなんだよね。
I have a hunch she might be cheating. His boss was a good-natured man who used to work a desk job. The reason he employed someone like Sojiro, even though he was clearly a student, was not because he admired him for working his way through school. It was because of all the other employees were scary and intimidating, and he at least wanted one employee who was not.
いいんですか？トイレの掃除まだですけど。
You sure? We still haven't cleaned toilets.
いいのいいの。なんかね、カメラの死角にいるんでいまいち確証取れないの。
It's fine, it's fine. She's in the security camera's blind spot, so we have no way of confirming whether she's up to no good.
そうちゃん、今のところ的中率 100% でしょ。様子見てきてくれないかな。
I want you to go because you're good to sixth sense about these things. Go check on her, will you? Hearing that, Sojiro put away his cleaning equipment and headed upstairs. It was a typical large-scale pachinko parlor with 2 floors. Prided itself on being a local establishment, it was satisfied with taking the locals' money little by little without resorting to more exploitative means. It's not like that's a good thing. But regardless of the parlor's intentions, its customers were not so scrupulous. Scrupulous? Among them were casual players, professional gamblers and cheaters looking to profit by exploiting whatever loopholes they could find. Of particular prevalence was a device developed in the mid-80s that could disrupt the machine's circuitry from the outside and make it much easier to get what was called 777 jackpot. As much as the parlor wanted to deny these cheaters entry, it needed to present hard evidence of cheating, or risk losing the customers. Particularly those in the service industry, innocent until proven guilty was not a rule taken lightly. As a result, it could only punish the customers caught in the act. Such cheaters were known as Gotoshi, a slice of society which Sojiro knew nothing about. What he did know is that they were inconveniencing his employee and violating the rules. Employee, not employee. He went upstairs. The radio and game machines out on the second floor were quieted on the cacophony on the downstairs. There were 100 game machines on the ground floor and over 80 on the second. While there were some empty seats here and there, it was a solid evening turnout. The machine mentioned by his boss was in the center aisle. Sojiro nonchalantly leaned back against the wall and watched the customer hit the jackpot over and over again. Seems sus. The second he saw her, his gut told him that she was not cheating. He was still not sure if it made someone the master smiling, but if it meant he was special, this woman certainly met the description. She's got a special sprite, chat. She knows she's going to be important. It was almost as if she could feel the look emanating from her. As the customers looked on, she suddenly turned the handle again and again. She appeared older than Sojiro. She wore a green form-fitting one-piece dress. A pair of stockings covered her legs. The slender legs were gracefully crossed and her elegance suited the painting better than the casino. Her dark reddish hair was cut short in the bob. Kanna, what are you doing here? Perfectly framing her stylish spectacles and crimson lips. True to be told, something was off about this picturesque beauty ringing the jackpot over and over again. 4 boxes worth of pachinko balls sat at her feet and the winning streak showed no sign of abating. She looked bored as if her slender porcelain fingers lifted a long cigarette to her lips. Feels like I've seen her somewhere. Just as a thought had crossed his mind, her gaze judged about the wall and Sojiro. Suddenly a chill ran down his spine. He reflectively covered his mouth to keep him from shrieking. Yes sir, it's the one from yesterday. Acting on pure instinct, Sojiro took off running. He headed straight downstairs, desperate not to be in the same floor as her. He would have run straight to the door, but for his obligations to do a job.
店長、早退します。それと、2階の人は問題ないです。
Boss, I'm leaving early and the person upstairs is fine. He tried to keep his composure as he spoke, jamming his school uniform into a paper bag as he ran out of the parlor. I wonder if he ran into a mage or a vampire or something. Cloudy weather brought the shadow of night over Yashirogi as he ran through the shopping arcade towards the station. He shot up the long staircase like an arrow, quickly pulled his string pass from his wallet and passed through the ticket gate. The ticket gate was crowded with people standing around, walking and talking. The station attendant by the automatic ticket machine had an unpleasant look on his face. There was no familiar, comforting hustle and bustle around him. Just another day in the city. Nothing like what he witnessed the night before. Phew. He could finally breathe again. A momentary rush of relief brought him to an abrupt stop. He nervously turned around. There was no way the dangerous individual could be behind him.
考えてみると
Wait, why would I even... He couldn't even think of a good reason why he fled so desperately. As far as he could remember, he hadn't even seen the threat's face long enough to form an opinion about her. Sergio gave himself a good slap on the cheek to pull himself together and quickly made his way down the platform. Unfortunately, the next train was 10 minutes away, and panicking would do him no favors, so he quietly found an empty seat and sat down. He took another deep breath. He was surrounded by people waiting for the train just like he was. And no sign of anyone pursuing him. His head finally cleared up and he assured himself that he was overthinking things. Though, he was surprised at how heavy his shoulders felt.
疲れてるのは分かってる自分の体の
I
ことだし
need a sip there. I need a sip, chat. Yeah. I'm just tired, I'm sure of it. I know my own body best after all. Sergio sighed at his greater than expected fatigue. I'd certainly struggled since coming down from the mountain, but in retrospect it could have been worse. Physically, he was probably holding up fine. He was much less confident in his mental state. I mean, what, you got school and you got 4 side jobs? Of course your mental state is going to be a fucking train wreck. The city in the mountains could not have been more different. He had been slow to recognize the differences and adapt. Acclimation was simple enough. Humans were nothing if not adaptable. Even without any effort, one would learn to adjust over time. Recognizing the challenges had been the hard part. Actually, it's all been difficult. I think I got him up there. Sergio grumbled a complaint he never uttered before. To be honest, he was still afraid to wander around town. There were so many things the city people took for granted that Sergio had yet to grasp. It was a little wonder that this never-ending chain of surprises would wear on him.
そっか疲れてるのは体じゃないのか
Oh, it isn't my body that's tired.
だからあんな幻を見れ
It would explain the hallucination. He muttered to himself and shook his head. This which exists, such is the way of all things. Toby would call it an hallucination, but Sergio knew what he saw was real. The city was a magical kingdom compared to the mountains. If there were real magicians secretly living here, it should have been no surprise at all. The thought alone made his legs tremble. It took him a moment longer to realize that they were quivering out of fear. He had feared to go natural ever since he had encountered a wild bear on the mountain path as a child.
いやあれはこんなもんじゃなかったっけ
But this is nothing like
なり
that.
ふり構わず泣き叫んだもんなあの時は
I cried and screamed my head off back then. Sergio smiled a little as he recalled his traumatic childhood memory. Anyone would have fainted at the sound of pairs of a growling beast that towered over 6 feet, 6 feet tall. Yeah. Why did that second guess me there? The monster in the movie that Sergio saw not 2 days ago was the equivalent of a curly stuffed animal when compared to the wild mountain creatures. He was reminded that he had faced worse before, and his ordeal now was something he could endure.
そうだよな今の問題はちらっと聞こえた最後のセリフか
That's right.
捕まえて始末するっていうのは
That's right. The problem now is, what I heard someone say at the end. What's catch and eliminate supposed to mean? At face value the meaning was obvious, but the implications were simply too frightening to contemplate seriously. Perhaps he had misheard the words, or perhaps the speaker had misspoke.
都会のルール誰かがきっと罰しに来る
But the law of the city means someone will deal out punishment eventually. Even as he said it, the idea didn't feel quite real. It was hard to imagine that it applied to him. Sergio breathed in and closed his eyes. His vision dimmed, putting the illuminated cityscape out of sight and out of mind. For now he resolved to at least put last night's events behind him. When he opened his eyes, his breathing had calmed.
それでさ
I wonder,
青崎を殴りつけようとして結局どうなったんだ
what happened to Toby Mower when he tried hitting Awazaki? The question suddenly popped into Sergio's head. He decided what else did next time and stood up from his chair. A long streak of light blazes by, announcing the arrival of the next train. I think this chapter is some on soon as well. At least I imagine. Oh, well. I guess I did call it, huh? I guess I did call that. Tea time. Nice. Well, I saved multiple times. So I guess this is chapter 3 that's starting. Maybe the title's kind of confusing me. I wonder how much different saves I'm going to need for this anyway, because I've heard there aren't that many, if any, choices at all in this, so it's kind of weird you have like so many free saves, but whatever. But alright. I guess that, search for bookmark? Not sure what that means. But I guess that will be it for today. Thinking time? No thinking time. This ain't Danganronpa. But alright, that'll be it for today. Stuff is starting to get interesting, I guess. I wonder what's up with that woman. We'll probably figure out next time. But alright, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed as well. I know it's not highly energetic gameplay that you're seeing here, so it might be a little bit boring for people. But I hope you had fun. I'll probably do this once per week. Should take me 2 months to get through, I imagine, at that point, but no, I guess I'll see. Maybe if stuff really gets going, I'll do it multiple times per week, but expect at least one stream of this next week. Alright, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.